tools like your nitro cells. It makes it so difficult to deny. If you have a nitro cell player still alive, if Pogo can still drop that over the top of the server rack, you don't have to risk crossing over that breach. And that's why you oftentimes see operators like a Smoke come into the fold to try and help hold on to this cache site. But cache is one that not a lot of teams will favor. It's kind of fallen away, and Swansea kind of demonstrated why. With that breach opened up, it becomes very difficult to disrupt the attacker's plans. And so they tried it, they gave it a shot. It hasn't worked out the first time, rotating to the basement now instead. And I think this is a site, Dino, that I think you might agree with me on this one, that a lot of teams just find a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to hold.
Yeah, from a defensive standpoint, the basement is, obviously one of the more favored sites because teams have to come all the way down. They have to clear through. There's very limited avenues, and a lot of the floor or the ceiling above your head is nice and reinforced, and you don't have to worry about being shot from below either. So you've got a whole load of areas covered, but also with the clubhouse basement in particular, because you've got 3 narrow choke points that you can get through and then the hatches, you are forced as the attackers to pick 2 that you go through. You can't just, focus on one. You have to pick 2. You have to set up a pinch to have any sort of chance of realistically being able to win the attack. And sometimes you just have to go for a bit of a cheeky roam, as that's going to be Marv getting downed the peak from Noob upstairs inside of Cash. And CCTV is going to be able to down the line, not enough to secure the kill, and this will at least waste a bit of time from Swansea.
Well, Vabs is also going to go down, and he's not injured. He's out permanently, so while Marv is in this position that he can hold on to, it does look like these players from Exeter are trying to finalize that kill, trying to finish him off and get that done. Matthew able to catch out Pogo, who was just walking a little bit too freely around Lounge. Does make things work, but no one able to get to Marv in time means he'll just bleed out. No longer available still on this top floor, but Sums causing problems again as Swansea continuously losing members to this roam with very little kind of doom retaliation. Yes, they got that kill onto Pogo from the top of Red Stairs, but for the most part, Exeter have just been walking around, finding these very comfortable gunfights and falling back when things start to go a little bit pear-shaped, as now they're just forcing for this oil pit. 2 versus 4. Matthew taking quite a bit of damage as well, so it's going to be a little bit grim for him to find, but Ben is just looking the wrong way. He just lets him walk in. The rotation open to the right, the Banshee gone, as now Dai is walking down the stairs as well. They found their way into sight. Oh. They get into injure first, coming out from Deathly, who's holding on by the back of Armory, just trying to deny this push on in, and it's worked as Dai is starting to falter down. Inoob from Moto, able to get the shots across and in, but Swansea nearly had an opening.
Yeah, I mean, Swansea almost had the ability to push that a little bit more aggressively if the Surge had been able to play around the boxes a bit more and the Thermite had been a bit quicker, then maybe we see something. But they had lost so much in the early part of the round. Marv getting down from that peak from the window, it shouldn't really have happened. Someone should have been watching that. There should have been the wall being opened up behind instead of just rappelling up. It was a whole load of small errors that all just accumulated in that. And then in the attempt to clear out those roamers, they lose 2 other players. No one ever goes and picks up Marv. And it's, suddenly you're in a 2 versus 4 trying to desperately save the round with less than a minute to go.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. They didn't commit to this roam clear in the correct manner, right? They didn't minimize the risk getting there. And I think part of this is when you have tools like the Lion, you just feel a little bit more comfortable. You think you're going to be able to get away with these sort of plays, and it was shown very clearly that Exeter, they don't know what you're bringing, they don't care what you're bringing, they will try to fight you very early on in these rounds. And the big thing here is just make sure that when you're approaching, you go for that classic, right? Like you mentioned, you either walk in garage door, you open up the CC wall, you have someone watch the drop down from red, so if they try to fall back, you collect any freebies. These are that's how you clear it quickly, and you can get it done in the first minute. You can then start to worry about downstairs. We didn't really get to see how Exeter played this basement or how Swansea are going to attack into it, because the round was over on the top floor.
Yeah, the round was sort of over within the first 45, 50 seconds, just because Swansea weren't going about things, as you say, in the correct and most ideal manner, and that's going to give Exeter a lot of confidence and the momentum going into this next round. We just have Marv briefly disconnect and rejoin, so hopefully If there were any technical issues going on there, they've now been resolved, but Exeter are going to be defending over towards gym and bedroom. This is, for a lot of teams, become the favoured second site after basement. Like I say, they moved away from CCTV cache. They like going over to gym and bedroom. It is a little bit more technical in how you hold it, but if you can get that working, it's a really strong site.
Yeah, and I think that's because you get a lot more space to play with, right? You can extend across the whole of the top floor because that breach garage, you don't need to worry about these two things that draw a lot of attention and force you to invest a lot of utility as a defensive team, which, if you go all the way across the jacuzzi, will keep you spread a little bit thin. As well, now you can see Swansea looking to try and open up this breach. It's got the mute jammer on it. Die just going to put the exothermic charge high enough up that it's not going to be bothered by it, and the way that detonation goes, it will open up the wall perfectly for you, so you can still run on through. Nice little way to get around that mute.
With the CCTV walls not being reinforced, they just got opened up by the sledge. The play from Exeter here being focused much more inside of cache. And then with that construction exterior wall being opened up, this does give Swansea the confidence to play on these windows, which is going to make these positions from Exeter inside of the site much harder to maintain. They're going to go for a little bit of a utility burn to maybe get rid of that bathroom door castle barricaders. With a minute to go, Swansea need to start getting some kills to start getting a bit of momentum behind them. Otherwise, Exeter are just going to be able to hold these positions down.
Yeah, if they can just find one kind of position to take for their own, if they can get into construction, but they haven't cleared out cache. Pogo able to get down Matthew, who's trying to play below. The vertical holes have been set up by the mute as Ben adds the tally, not once, but twice, taking down both of these players over by CCTV. Everything is just starting to slip away from the hands of Swansea here as Marv still playing on these windows. 30 seconds left of the round, Dino. He doesn't really know where to go for from here. Die dropping down, looking for this entry into construction, but has to be aware of the shots coming in from the Jaeger on the doorway. Is not, and Deathly able to collapse the kill. Marv maybe giving up a flawless round here for Exeter as they just are holding onto this, and Swansea can't find any openings. They don't know what they're supposed to be looking for.
It does feel like they're quite lost, doesn't it?
It does. It does, Dino. And it, like, we talked about this before we started, right? The checklist. Clubhouse is the checklist map. And what is the first thing you think of when you think of a gym take? You clear out CCTV, you deny these roamers the ability to harass you from that CCTV window, you push back, take that control inside of construction. Because from here, you can work with so much more space. You can play off these windows freely. You force the defenders back into sight. It is not a comfortable sight to sit in, Dino.
No, absolutely not. It's a site that you can abuse with frag nades from below to force people out of their positions, and then you have people holding the windows to eliminate them as they rotate. You can, if you do open up those exterior walls, you can throw frag nades directly onto the positions where people are sat and just be able to control the game that way. It does look like some of the players from, I believe, Exeter this time around had some form of technical difficulty, so we are going to have a quick little rehost. Hopefully we'll be back into the game nice and shortly. But Swansea, their attacks, they just look lost. They don't know what they're doing. It's very straightforward, all of these attacks. It's either roam clear or you just sort of clear from the top floor across. And they're just not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the end of the day what it comes down to, right? It's just you're not playing the map in the efficient way. You're not playing it to its strengths as an attacking lineup. And this is really interesting to me because we think back to last week, this Clubhouse game we saw, they had that sense of direction, right? They had 3 rounds at the start where they kind of struggled to pick up the pace. They struggled to pick up these kills. The next 3 rounds, they turned it around. They went from 0-3 to 3-0. They fixed the mistakes they made before. And I was certain coming into this, a map you already made mistakes on, you fixed them mid-series, you came back, you win in overtime. That just happens again here, right? You come in with that knowledge of this is what we did wrong before. This is where we come in. They're making completely different mistakes this time. And
yeah. Last time it was quite a bit of Vabs and the entries getting caught out in gunfights, and we saw, some incredible play coming through from their opposition. It wasn't like Swansea were doing anything wrong. They were just losing gunfights at the start of the round, and then it would snowball. That was generally the main vibe. There were obviously mistakes being made, but they weren't to the same scale as what we're seeing here, where you're just doing the wrong thing and losing the gunfights. Not even being prepared for the gunfights that are being taken is what it feels like a lot of the time. Swansea just to seem a bit lost. It's sort of the only way to describe it. This isn't the Swansea that we know.
I think it's also very important that we just make this explicitly clear, right? We are addressing a lot of these problems at Swansea. I think that's because you're looking at these rounds, they do look lost. They don't quite have that cohesive plan in mind. But that should not take away from what Exeter are doing here. They are
Hmm.
playing perfectly against Swansea in the rounds they're winning. What they're doing is exactly what they need to. If you have an opponent that doesn't quite know what they want to be doing, isn't quite challenging you in these positions, you wait patiently. And they are doing that. They did not give up any space and cash despite 2 minutes eclipsing in the round, and no one has walked anywhere near Ben. He sat there on that Wamai. He doesn't really know what's going on around him, right? Because you'd think you'd get rid of this position early on into the game. So he just waits patiently. And eventually that opening from Swansea emerges where he can walk up, he can take the challenge onto the player on the CC balcony, and then turn around and get the second onto the window as well. They're doing a very good job of just waiting out Swansea. And when Swansea just make that mistake, they pounce. And you're looking at the aggressive players you have on Exeter, right? You got Deathly, a veteran of the scene, Ben, Pogo, Ainu. These guys are very aggressive. They will happily take gunfights, even against the likes of Abs, and they're winning them.
But they're taking the right gunfights.
Yeah.
We could have seen Ben go for that peak a lot earlier on and probably been held, but he decided, no, I'm going to sit inside of Cash because I've got this nice long line of sight. I've got all of these things around me that are protecting me and letting me know where the pressure's coming from. If I'm not being challenged, I don't need to do anything stupid because at the end of the round, if they haven't killed me, I'm just going to win. And he understands this, and despite the fact that he's probably sitting there itching, going, "Oh, just let me peek the window, just let me peek the window. All I want to do is peek the window. I can get three, trust me." Like, he holds on. And then when he does go for the peek, he gets that impact kill, that important frag. He's able to relocate and get more and keep his team in the round, and he still maintains that position later on, meaning that when that push through construction tries to happen as a late round recovery, it's an absolute crossfire from three different directions. There's no way that anyone's ever going to be able to beat that, and it's just aggressive players taking a bit of a step back, making a smart decision, and using that aggression in a very controlled manner. It can be incredibly effective when it's done right.
Yeah, it can be. And we're just seeing that on display. And you're looking at what does Swansea change up from here? I think the big thing for me is just working together a little bit better for these entries. Play for these entries now. Don't worry too much about getting pressure around the map. Don't worry too much about getting that breach open early on so you can come back to it later. I would rather just see Swansea focus down on getting these openings. Have all 5 players start at CCTV if that's what's needed. Have one person maybe lurking below just to try and catch anyone who straggles off. But play for this opening pick. Get that advantage. Have drones leading in Vabs. Have drones leading in Jaff because they will give you kills. Matthew has done a brilliant job of just playing around Lounge, and whenever anyone gives him the opportunity to take them out, he will. Go for this opportunities. And I think that might just be the recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, that initial round that we saw Swansea actually win, they focused a lot of utility into Garage, had
Mm,
Matthew playing around downstairs, and then just had the angle being held by the thermite outside on CCTV balcony. They
yeah.
understood their route into the site. They had two players holding powerful positions and just were able to build off of that. And we've not seen them even attempt to replicate that in other rounds, or if they have been attempting to replicate it, they've not gone about it in the best way and have been getting caught out in the process of setting it up.
Yeah, it's not doom and gloom. This isn't over for Swansea. We're 3 rounds in, right? It's 1-2 on the scoreboard, and there's plenty of time to turn things around. Exeter, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. You're playing great. Maybe I'm interested to see if they return back to CC, right? Because the basement is still locked for one more round. Gym will be locked for another 2. Do we get to see this stock come out? Because we talked about it, Dino, and I said I
Hmm.
wanted this. I said I wanted to see stock get played, and it didn't happen. We had what 16 rounds. Well, not 16 rounds, 14 rounds, and it didn't
14, yeah.
happen. 16 would be a well, you'd OT for that 15 otherwise. So don't know where I pulled that from, but 14 rounds, no stop. It's gonna be cash.
It's not gonna happen. We're not gonna get a stock.
Yeah, it's always cash, you know. It's
Yeah.
always cash.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
All about that cash money.
Yeah.
Everyone here is a hustler. They spend their time grinding the Twitch streams for all of that sweet money.
For the free Rainbow Six esport packs.
Yeah, exactly that.
Let's go.
Gotta get those battle pass points somehow.
That is true. Although they added new items to it, so I haven't gotten any battle pass points recently. Got a nice little Dokkaebi beanie. Do appreciate that.
Ooh.
It's quite a nice one. It was like white with these like grey little marks on it with a big 6 on it, which is quite cool. Didn't equip it though because it didn't have a bubble hat.
5 seconds remaining.
Ah, well, yeah.
It looked nice, but bubble hat's superior.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Is that just your life motto? Bobble hat superiority.
Yeah, pretty much. Any hat that I go to wear, it has to have a bubble hat on it. Even if it's just like a summer cap, you know what I mean, like a baseball cap. Gotta have a bubble hat. Gotta have a little pom pom on the top, or it's not worth it.
Well, with that rather confusing picture in my head, let's get back into this round. As we are going to see Swansea, like we say, try and go for cash again. We've had Matthew go in through dirt and is working his way up blue. There is a player inside of lounge that he might be able to catch out. It doesn't appear like the extra players have any idea that this position is being held, and that's going to be Ben getting eliminated nice and early on. And Matthews is going to sit here and wait for the re-challenge. Not going to get aggressive for a moment until he gets further information, as Marv is on this thatch trying to open up this door and just gets eliminated, taking a pretty poor gunfight that Pogo is going to win 9 times out of 10, results in, well, Pogo winning the gunfight.
You have this Monty available. It will be interesting to see where Dai chooses to go. You're expecting it to be walking straight up garage, right? Try and put pressure onto these Rafters players. Ainoob in an interesting position here where he can offer some assistance, but he's going to take a little bit of chip damage from Jaff. Ainoob, well, he's going to go down to the nade instead from Matthew. Able to work that together to get him into an uncomfortable position as Pogo now just start on here. The Monty dropping the shield and just trying to cause some confusion, but 2 quick kills going in favor of Exeter, making life just a little bit more difficult. The impact grenade comes out, but Dai able to get the hip fire shots, able to get the kill onto the player up there instead. So now they have this Rafters control, a little bit of drone information as well. However, 2v2 with the Monty as one of those members is certainly a little bit more challenging. Can give himself this opportunity to cross though. Going to use the hard breach charge to open up the wall. Potential plant opportunity starting to align itself.
And it is going to be Dai going for the plant. Vabs on the wall is going to try and be the savior. Gets 1, gets 2. Both headshots coming through for the Thermite. And they're able to secure the round. Swansea going to tie us back up at 2-2. The garage take there was a little bit shaky, but again, it's this Thermite out on the balcony that Exeter just try and swing past, try and ignore to deny the plant. They're focusing on stopping that plant from going down as much as possible. And it cost them. Both of these 2 rounds that Swansea have won have been through Exeter focusing on denying the plant instead of getting the player off the balcony.
Well, that's why you have the breach open, right? We saw it the first time around. Swansea able to get their second attacking win, and yes, it was a little bit scrappy. Yes, you'd like it to be a more commanding win, but a win's a win. And they've been able to do it with very different lineups, right? You add that Monty to try and take that control, to be that sort of annoying presence. And while they didn't really get full value out of it in that sense, because they kind of lost 2 players in Garage Door anyway, it still got the job done. And having that Monty to protect itself from the swing from the alibi at the end actually kind of really helped out there, able to keep himself a little bit alive, create that sort of extra distraction while Vabs just tidied up the rest of the roster. You're now looking at a basement hold coming out from Exeter once again, and the most interesting thing to me is that you have no hard breach gadgets coming in from on the secondaries, right? You have that exothermic on the Thermite, but sometimes you want just a little bit more assistance to prevent, I don't know, maybe some impact tricking. Maybe just to have that extra things you can open, right? Because you've got dirt tunnel, 3 hatches. You don't want to limit yourself.
Yeah, and limiting themselves is definitely what this is doing. yeah, they're going to be able to get open one hatch and probably dirt, as Matthew's going to lose a lot of HP. iNoob as well does get tagged up a little bit, but he's going to try and maintain the angle. The Nitro Cell being used early is going to be a big warning to Swansea that they're going to have to deal with these roamers, but it is a massive amount of utility that's been lost for very little gain as drones start to come on through. The Mozzie is spotted and is going to go on a little bit of a sprint down those red stairs. Matthew wisely not using the nade before coming through the Mozzie as well, and truly out of there as Marv is going to be sitting in position to catch that kill as iNoob attempts to get back to the site.
And now just using these E1Ds just to try and assist with the rest of the clearance of this roam. It doesn't look like there's too much going on though. Exeter have been very happy with the time that they've bought so far. Halfway through the round, bit of damage dealt onto Matthew, onto that sledge, and you're looking now at these two remaining Nitro Cell players, right? You've got Pogo, you've got Deathly, who are able to try and get some work done. Pogo doesn't even need the Nitro Cell. The hatches open up right up onto him, and now Dino, he's going to slip away into Strip. He's going to just continue to hide away and cause problems for Swansea, and I don't know if they're going to drone it out.
It would be a pretty incredible drone for them if they did, as Marv is going to get down by one of those cap cans. You see the Iana wanting to go as far as Strip, but getting stopped, running out of time. The spray through the wall is going to come on through. There is a sneaking suspicion that there's someone there, but not enough to really invest a lot of time in utility. Pogo is actually going to get spotted out this time by the Iana. He's just going to run away deep and deep inside a Strip, but Vabs is a bit too fast for it and is going to be able to get that kill, as we are going to see Die now choose to open up one of these hatches. It is going to be the blue hatch, so that's going to be one of their points of ingress. Where is going to be their second?
Will be interesting to see. I'd expect it to be the Moto hatch, right? Try and get that open on up, try and get that second angle, but Marv has used both of his impact EMPs. Looks like it's actually the kitchen hatch instead, so looking to go for this drop. You've got to be careful of that impact, but it's not going to be thrown out in time, and Vab's actually able to get the kill onto Ben, who was wielding it. So that position at the bottom of the main stairs taken away from the defense, and wow, Vab's just continuing to smack these shots back as Deathly able to drag one for Die as he drops through the hatch. Is now left in the 1 versus 3. They know exactly where he is, and Jaff very swift to drop that blue hatch to get him stuck in that corner and finish off the final kill that they need. Swansea doing a much, much, much better job of this early roam clear.
Just a better job of the whole round. They had that early roam clear sort of in place. They were droning, they were making sure no one was entering the building until they knew exactly where this player was. And then they had players sitting there to watch their rotations to stop them from getting back to site. And then we had Vabs go off and get 3 kills off of good droning, good intel, and, well, good gunplay and strong peaks. And then it was just, you know, kill the last guy who's sitting inside of the site. There's not much we can do. There's 4 of us. Like, that was, from Swansea, the kind of round that I would expect to see every round.
It was, and I think now you get to see Exeter have that choice, right? Do they go back down to the basement? Do they take another crack at Jim? Jim wins it out. And I think you haven't lost Jim yet. Swansea have shown that they've repaired the mishaps from that first time of attacking into the basement. Why not see if they can fix this one as well? You're looking at Swansea now after a bit of a shaky start, up 3-2. A 4-2 half is on the table, and Exeter have to make sure that isn't the case if they want to set themselves up the best possible chances coming in after the second half. As, well, once again, a very similar lineup. Marv continuing to rock that Lion, which is helping to isolate some of these picks while functioning as that sort of make-up for the Thatcher, right? Yes, he's available, but you still get 2 of those impact TMPs. Why not take another tool? Die going for this very aggressive look-up. Oh, it's reinforced. Never mind. For some reason, I thought that was open, but it was reinforced. Going to open it up very quickly though, just so that they can get this head start. Right, you have that gym opening. Still got Ben lurking around inside a cache though. Are they going to go for a more direct approach though this time? Is that the plan? Just ignore it completely as the swing from Deathly in this doorway, looking for an early pick, isn't going to bear any fruit just yet.
It's a very brave pick though. You often see players, you know, still on the rappel, holding angles through the little barriers, but it's going to be Vabs actually taking the peek onto the player at the top of main stairs. iNoob is going to fall. That's the castle off the board. That's not a massive loss if you are Exeter. Your castle, you know, they've placed down their utility. They have a pretty weak gun anyway. You are not massively pressed for losing that operator, but this is going to give Swansea a bit of an avenue on into the objective. They haven't decided to put anyone out onto the CCTV windows just yet, or in the gym bedroom windows either, to open them up with the castle barricades and reinforcements. So they've been waiting for Dye to get into position to close off the peak from that CCTV window.
And now just trying to toy with some of this aggressive angle. Some stuck in between the two windows. Caught out by Jaff, who made his way into the bathroom. Quickly shut down by Deathly, though. Playing on that doorway into construction. His presence now alerted, though. The head bobbing up and around the frame. But he's actually able to get a second one onto Marv as well. As Ben, still in cash, still being this problem for Swansea, has dragged it back. A 2 versus 2. Babs and Dye, the two players alive, who've been doing a good job of bringing home rounds for their teams. Ben finds the first. They're split around. They're causing Babs in the middle to do the loop, but he's able to get the first one. Swings around, gets bent to such little HP. He has to swap to the B9. Dino, he can't quite land the shot, so now he's on full HP, dropping this Claymore in the door as well, just to try and add to some of the BM, just to try and add some potential confusion to Ben, opening up the castle barricade now, trying to give himself that angle into Jim. There is a slight spot where he'll be able to get in, where he'll be able to get a plant off, but he has to be careful of the angle from the construction door. He's going to go. He's going to try and stick the plant. Ben, surely, here's this going, is going to be throwing up the impact to try and disrupt him, and it will. He'll fall down the hatch. 16 seconds left in the round, Dino. He has to come up main stairs. He has to look for this, and Ben knows exactly where he's going to be. He's holding the angle. He has the HP advantage, but he's going to lose the gunfight. Ben able to get him and hold the round down, lock sight in for Exeter.
Oh my. What? What was that for a round? Swansea, they got the opening pick, they got the walls open. As they started to go for the execute, Exeter, like we say, they've been good with their gunfights. They were able to come through and start to win some of those trades back and forth, putting themselves into an even standing position. Vabs, a great job of getting that initial kill, isolating the 1v1. But I'm trying to think how we could have played that differently. Potentially by going deeper into master bedroom and trying to go for the plant by the bomb. But I guess they didn't have any information about what was going on inside of logistics to be able to really deny that. The intel game, I wasn't sure of how many drones they had left at the end of that round, but Vabs having to go for that plant inside of gym, using that hard piece of gym equipment as cover. It's not always going to work out for you. Sometimes if you stick the plant, you can get it to go, but that time he had to back off, and in doing so fell down the hatch. It was a stroke of luck at times from Exeter, but their gunplay, despite occasional strategy falls, has still been incredibly strong. And here we go with Pogo starting off the round, getting the kill onto Matthew, who, as we know, loves to go for a bit of a cheeky spawn peek every now and then.
So the question here, Dino, is it going to be Matthew giving up these spawn peaks rather than it was... We saw Marv going for it a couple times last time. To his credit, I think he ended at about 50% hit rate. On 50% of the time, he'd get a kill. The other 50% he would give up a kill. But you know what? What were your thoughts on those odds? Is that something you'd take, or would you rather just keep them alive 100% with none of that risk reward?
On Clubhouse, none of that risk reward. You need all the players that you can. Some other maps, maybe you can get away with being a little sneaky with it, but Clubhouse in particular, I'm gonna say keep alive. We want to burn as much time as possible. If you get that kill, obviously it's going to be massive, but a lot of the time it's not going to go your way. That's not a spawn peak, that's allowed.
That is, in fact, a classic run-out. A connoisseur of run-outs would be thoroughly impressed by Vabs there, because he just goes for it. He opens it up, and he's got himself a second in the round. He'd been able to succeed where his teammate wasn't, and now put himself in that advantage. Pogo walking down blue, though, able to get the kill onto Jaffa. Wasn't sure if he's going to pull it off, but Vabs is just continuing the demolition derby of Exeter, running around the map and finding everyone. He's on low HP. The Buck looking for him here as Vabs is able to get 4, Dino. He's looking for the ace. Is Ainoob going to give it? He's swinging around the corner. Oh. No. He shuts him down. A 1 versus 2 now for this Buck to try and play through. A minute 15 on the clock. He has a good idea that there's probably someone in this corridor, as the Toxic Babes are just buying Swansea's defenders in sight a little bit more time. The Fuser not too far away.
But he's only got a minute. Well, I say he's only got a minute. A minute is a long time in Siege, but he's got to try and isolate 2 gunfights. He's attempting to attack onto the most defensible site on the map. You know, he does have these secondary hard breach gadgets to be able to open up the hatches and maybe create a little bit of a misdirection, as they are now going to have to at least pay some attention over towards that blue hatch. He wants to try and sneak around and work his way down dirt, but has already been open. I was going to say he might have to make a bit more noise to do so. With the shotgun out, carefully sneaking around these corners. Oh, the door's closed. The door's closed. He's going to have to make noise to try and break on in, and there's a Koyo on it as well. The flames are going to burn him out. He cannot progress forwards. There's not enough time. Even if he does go for the rotate, he's going to have to drop down the kitchen hatch, and Dai's going to be standing there waiting with a shotgun, ready to put this round to bed. As here we go, straight on into the lion's jaw, and it's actually going to be Marv to secure that kill.
Just the Goyo canister on the doorway, just throwing everything out the window for him there, because he doesn't have the HP to walk through it. He can't tank it, especially while taking a gunfight. He's going to need to be ADS'd. He's going to take more damage. ADSing, the recent update came through yesterday. Wait, no, it doesn't come through yet. Hold up. It's not new season. I was playing TS. Never mind. Ignore everything I was about to say, but going ADS, you're going to be slower.
Defenders, protect your
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. You open up the hatch, you then try and go down blue to create this extra level of diversion, but you're really not going to be able to do too much in general at that point. 1 versus 2 attacking downstairs. Sometimes when it's a 2 versus 1 attacking downstairs, if you don't already have an easy to access avenue all the way on in, you're going to be in a very difficult spot, and that's going to give Swansea the advantage, the first advantage that they've had since the opening round of the game. And I would just like to point out that since the rehost, which was after 3 rounds, Vabs is currently sitting at 12-2. So in 4 rounds, impressive. He's gotten 8 kills.
Yeah.
No, in 4 rounds, he's gotten 12 kills. I'm just stupid.
That's quite a lot of kills.
It is.
It is quite a lot of kills. And anyone who's good at their maths will be able to tell you how many kills that is an average per round.
Right.
So, there we go. Yeah, you're so good at maths.
I can do 12 divided by 4.
That's advanced mathematics as far as I'm concerned.
Primary school wasn't fun for you, was it?
No, it was very difficult. Pogo, just looking to get over. Needs the hard breacher there to get that done. Definitely, he's just running across the rooftops. Not quite Assassin's Creed style, but in a similar sort of vein to get over. Going to drop the EMP. Die on that bandit, though. Could try and trick off this wall. And so far, there hasn't been a lot of presence on the balconies by the gym window to try and disrupt this play, as the first one will be set on the wall and just completely caught off. The next one coming through will be dropped and caught. Oh, Die, a masterclass.
Oh.
Because not only this, he double threw the first set of Selmas. That is the one thing you're not supposed to do as an ace. You're not supposed to double throw the first set of Selmas.
They've made it so difficult for bandit tricking to like be successful these days as well. So to be able to deny all of that utility is very, very impressive. Noob, though, is going to be able to get the kill onto Vamp, slowing down that hot streak, as Marv is going to be there to get one trade. He's going to go for the jump on out and get the kill onto the ace as well. It's keeping this in Swansea's favor. 4 versus 3 in rounds and operators, as Marv is getting put under pressure. He is going to be able to keep his head for the time being and make his way back onto the objective.
Oh, Pogo cuts off Marv. The castle have done a lot of damage, but no more this round. The barricade's still up here and there, which will have to kind of be gotten rid of, but Pogo vaguely aware that there might be players around logistics and is a little bit wary of jumping in the window for that reason, as they're going to rotate around. No way of getting this breach open, so they're going to have to look for other means of entry, namely this hatch, as Jaff able to catch Noob, who tried to walk up main stairs. Swansea aren't going to be falling for that, and now Sums looking for the entry in through construction. Spraying into the doorway will give away his position. Pogo has the split into Logistics doorway. The Nitro Cell going to be disabled, as well as Jaff's Reticle for a short period of time, as they're just looking to walk on in, but there's 17 seconds left in the round, Dino. And they have the potential plant spot on lockdown if the cover can come through from Sums. He's in the doorway, looking to fight the top main stairs, able to get one as Pogo gets the second as well, swinging around, looking for the bandit, but Die on such little HP is caught out in the dying second of the round. I don't even want to know how little time was left on the clock there, but he's able to get it done with the pistol. Pogo salvaging the round, and in a 2 versus 3 as well.
Yeah, Swansea. What's going on there, bud? What was that about? You had the advantage, you had the time on your side, you had the ability to just sit and hide. But instead, the player inside of the bathroom was trying to hold a little cheeky angle, but was exposing themselves. That's not a favorable angle to hold, as you can just find yourself getting peeked onto and not really understanding where you've died from. And then you leave your two other teammates who are on weaker positions, who are trying to be the cover, as you are the linchpin of the round. You are the one who should survive until the last second. You should be the hardest fight for them to take. You're the first one to die. And then your other teammates are trying desperately to hold this together. Die does a very good job to be able to run around, waste a bit of time and get the first. But because you open up all of the floor of gym, there's only so far you can run until you're in the line of sight and you're going to get taken out. And that's what we saw happen there. Die eventually falling. And Exeter getting a round that they probably shouldn't have won.
Yeah, I mean, when you lose that breach, when you're forced in through some of these plays, when Marv is able to get as much work done early on as he did, it's hard to find the justification for that. Ben, able to just tap Die. I think, was he spawn peeking with the pistol? It sounded like it.
Maybe, but maybe he was... Oh. I don't even want to think about it. If he was, that's just upset me so much, but I'm going to pretend like he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard the sound. It might have just been the SMG and it just sounded weird, but either way, you'll lose that Kaid early on. Bandit tricking was a big part of their success last time around. What put them in that strong position? The breach already opened up this time around. Pogo and Deathly able to work it away, and Ben still playing on this balcony. Hasn't quite got the same freedom you might want, but now with this long angle open up, Deathly will actually get a fall to it. The impact coming out to try and finish him off, but it doesn't land quite accurately enough, as Pogo giving him a little bit of cover fire while he crawls his way to safety. Vav's taking some damage, trying to challenge onto Ben, and will fall back to Cash to hold this for the time being, but Marv just continuing to be a pain in the ass for them on this doorway.
Jaff as well going to be able to follow up and get the kill, getting aggressive onto that breach. Deathly will be able to secure the kill, getting a bit of revenge after being previously downed, but is going to be on incredibly low HP. Ben as well getting tagged up, as Deathly's good for another kill onto Matthew. Vabs is finally going to be able to put an end to his reign, as it is now a 2 versus 2, a 1 versus 2, as Ben just catches Marv off guard. Vabs, he's been the hero for Swansea since the rehost. Can he continue it here? The diffuser is down outside on the balcony. He might know this already. It could be why he's going for the rotate around to try and catch them off guard, knowing that they're both coming through from construction and master, but he seems to be slightly unaware, is concerned about someone being outside on that balcony, but it's the pressure coming in from logistics that's going to hit him next. The Ash going for those shots. Vabs is going to tag him up and actually get the down. That's onto the Iana. Sums the Ash is deep inside of construction still. He isn't in a position to really help his teammate, but it's going to be Vabs there to get the double kill.
Okay, Vabs. I mean, this is what you have him in for, right? You have this big explosive player. You want him to make big explosive plays. And in rounds like this, after you just throw a 2v3 situation, being able to bounce back, take advantage, take the aggression into Exeter is just what you need. He dropped the hatch this time, but it was on purpose. He didn't droid it, as he said before, and that positioning did throw Exeter off a little bit. I thought the drone coming through might have spotted him out from Sums, but what ended up happening is we saw this disconnect, right? Where Diana is trying to push forwards, is trying to get this pick, Ben looking for the gunfight, ends up losing it out early onto Vabs. You don't have the Ash there for that refrag, and we're now looking at a 15 kill Vabs from the rehost. 15 kills since a rehost on... Please explain this to me.
Vamps
Make
has
it make
decided-
sense.
Vamps has decided he doesn't want me to be his curse anymore, and then has just gone out and has gotten 15 kills in 6 rounds.
To go.
I told you, Dino. You're the Swansea totem. You know, like,
Moving out to locate
you know, like, you know the show 8 out of 10 Cats does countdown?
Yes. Yes,
You
I
know,
did.
like, you know how like every panelist brings like a little thing that they put on the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Am I-
Vabs would just be pulling you out and just sitting you on the desk. You'd just be,
It's good.
you'd
Got
get
a
to
little
sit there
chibi of
kindly.
me.
No, it'd just be you. You just sit on the desk the whole show.
bomb located by attackers.
Maybe you'd get given like you'd get a snack, of course, because otherwise that'd be a bit.
Oh,
rude.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in. If I get a snack and a drink, I'll be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
What
sounds-
snack
yeah.
you choosing?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying not to think about food. I didn't eat before we went live, so I've got to hold off until the end of the show before I can get my dinner on the go. But this round is definitely going on. As already 50 seconds gone, Swansea are defending downstairs in the basement. They're sitting 5-4 in the round count. If they're able to get this one, it is going to put them on map point, which is pretty crucial for them, as like we were talking about in the pre-show, theme park being our second map. We're going to expect Exeter to have a very good time there.
We are indeed, and now just looking at how this spread is up. A lot of pressure on Dirt early on. Vabs, though, he's still lurking around on the top floor. And of course Vabs is lurking around on the top floor. Of course he's trying to cause problems for Exeter, because I don't think they're even really aware of it. Pogo looking to try and get this hatch open up, but so far it's being tricked away. Sums, the Zofia, looking to lurk around, has been caught off by this Alibi, who's now just rotating down, looking for lounge, looking to get any players inside of bar. Just absolutely dominating Exeter so far. Gonna open a little bit of awareness there, opening up the barricade, just try and cause some concern, some confusion, and then fall back. No more exothermics available, means that they're gonna have to swap over to the Selmas, try and trick it open this way. No impacts left to stop it. Matthew doing a great job to deny that thermite.
Yeah, we were talking before about Swansea's lackluster attempts at roam clearing, but at least they went for the attempt, as Dai is going to put an absolute truck into Ben's face as he attempts to clear down Dirt. The 2 lines of ingress choosing to be the kitchen hatch and Dirt, but Dai putting good to that as the smoke canisters are going to start to come on out. As iNoob has worked his way down the main stairs with all the chaos and noise going on, he might be able to sneak on in and get a little bit going on, but Babs is too aware for it. It's going to be good for one as Deathly falls as well. It's now just Pogo left alive, 1 versus 4. With 20 seconds left to go, he's not even going to make it down the stairs. Marv from inside of church is going to be able to put an end to that one.
Yep, and does it pretty swiftly as well. I think the big thing for me there was just... I think when Habana's gone, you need to think very carefully about the hard breach utility that you bring. And if you're bringing an ace on a basement site, to me, the purpose of that is usually for getting open the church wall. You want to be able to play at the bottom of main stairs or in Moto, throw it onto the church wall without exposing yourself to any players getting aggressive in armory. Sometimes you'll see those footholds there. And when you have that breach open up, you can start to push in, get behind the table, get behind the black boxes, and plant or control church from one of these positions. If they had had a hard breach charge, maybe that is a little bit easier to get open. I don't know, some other form of utility, because you invest 2 of those Selmas into just 1 hatch. It's such a waste of utility, such a waste of potential. But impact tricking was just the end goal there, right? And that's what happens when Habana is off the table. You need other plans. I think there should have been something done to sort of counteract this, because you have to expect it's going to come in. Losing both your exothermics to that, if Swansea had invested more in those impacts, they wouldn't have got an open at all.
Do you know what my piece of advice for Exeter for that round would have been?
Impart your wisdom on Twistino.
iNoob, play Buck, bring the secondary half breach gadget. Then you can get the hatches open. It's easier. You can use the Buck to open up all the kitchen floor safely, so then they can't impact trick you. Done.
This has been the wise words from Dino section of the broadcast, and now we get back to watching Swansea Storm, now on match point, try and take onto, try and defend, CCTV, the site that they looked very comfortable on attacking. Now they get to show their prowess on the defensive end. And so far, the breach opened up in pretty good time from the side of Exeter, right? You have Sums on that ace, just working away at it as definitely looking to try and open up construction wall as well. Vabs on the backside looking for an aggressive pick. Not quite going to find it. Jacuzzi wall has been opened, but no one challenging into this alibi so far. As he's off the bar now. He's all over the place, Dino.
I mean, if he doesn't know what he's doing, how's anyone else supposed to know?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, he's a free spirit. He's roaming around and is probably going to try and sneak up onto Lounge, expecting there to be players there. And this will give Marv some extra support, but by the looks of it, it doesn't appear that anyone from Exeter is actually going to be applying that downstairs pressure just yet. They're going to go for a nice big clear coming through from the construction side of the map, as Ben is potentially still unknown and could catch them off guard, but as soon as I say that, Matthew just proves me wrong. Has the perfect idea of what's going on, as Ben is going to be the one to hit the ground. Now with the top of the wall getting open on up, the impacts are going to go on out and the thermite charges are going to be destroyed, so that wall is not going to get opened on up that way. As Exeter's attack is now really starting to stall.
The impact trick coming in from Matthew as well, able to get the first, this exothermic, and they have one more hard breach piece utility. It's the Selma on that ace, who's not really in a position to get this construction wall open up, which means that Die can sit on this corner so tight with the shotgun, which is very difficult to challenge into now. 40 seconds in potentially the last round for Exeter as they're trying to use these grenades to clear things out, but it's definitely going to be the next to fall. Could be picked up, but for the time being, it's the 3 versus 5. Matthew playing around this doorway. The Banshee going to give away the signal that's trying to swing in. Going to get one. Jaff gets the second as well. And, well, this is looking a little bit peak now because Sums and Deathly, both outside on this breach, have to try and find the final kills. Vabs jumps out to add one more to his tally before the end of the game. Marv grabs the next. And Swansea Storm, it was their map pick, Dino. You expected them to take it. And they do so in a very, very comfortable fashion in the end after a slight stumble for map number 1.
Yeah, so the opening 3 rounds, obviously, we spoke about it a lot during the rehost. They got the first round, lost the next 2. And then after that, they lost 2 rounds, 1-6. They just completely switched it up. And a lot of that has to come down to Vabs. Obviously, they changed up what they were doing as a whole team. They always started making smarter decisions and actually doing, what you should do on attack. But Vabs are getting 18 kills in those 9 rounds. And I'm going to assume that he got at least 2 kills before that. So a nice 20 kill game coming through from Vabs there, probably.
It's not bad.
Yeah. You can't really argue too much about that.
Yeah, if I could have someone on my team just dropping 20 kills for fun, I'd take it. I wouldn't say no. Especially, would you say
they
no?
drop 20 kills, but you lose the game.
But then, like, if I don't have him getting those 20 kills, then someone else has to get them for win. So, like, I still say that's pretty impressive, and that's pretty good. Like I'd just be like, fair play, mate. Like at this point, like. We'll just stop holding you back. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just grab, like, Dokkaebi, Lion, all the rest of that jazz, and just go. Have fun, Vabs. Go get kills. Be free.
You got to get 25 kills.
Yeah, exactly. just assist him out a little bit. Help out the bros. But I think on a more serious note, right? Swansea, great job at turning things around after that break. Vabs, the kills he was getting weren't just like random frags as well. They were very important roam kills or shutting down the enemy roamers, which made these rounds a lot easier for Swansea to digest. And now, that's it for map number 1. We do have map number 2, maybe map number 3, if Exeter can flip this series around, bring it back to 1-1 on their map of Theme Park. But to find out, you'll have to come back in 5 minutes, because we're going to jump to a short break.
Live 17 floors up, and when it rains, I can feel those drops in my window pane. Lets me know that I'm still here. But when the sun comes out, I will go outside. When it breaks through clouds, I will give a smile. Lets me know that I'm still here. Sometimes I want to run away, to find good times again, to find all my old friends. Times I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends.
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Hello, welcome back to the Null Winter R6 Prize Playoffs. And, well, if you're new here, just welcome. It is me, Colin Molu, joined by Dino again for the second map of this wonderful, wonderful series between Swansea Storm and Exeter Esports. And now, look, Dino, it was a clubhouse, went over in favour of Swansea, and now we're lining ourselves up for that theme park. Interesting map, Exeter's pick.
Yeah, and just like how Swansea picked Clubhouse, this might go the way of the team that picked it. Exeter, it's a bold pick. It's a brave pick to go for a theme park. Cafe for a lot of teams is generally considered to be stretching it at times. So to go all the way out to a theme park and to do something like that, it implies a certain level of confidence and a certain level of extra strategy and work that I'm hoping that we see from them, because what we saw from them on Clubhouse at times was very strong and at times was very lackluster.
I'm excited. You know what? I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to seeing what not only Exeter but Swansea as well can bring to the table. I think it, like you say, it does come down to how this attacking half goes for Exeter. If they've come in with a clear game plan, they understand their operator lineups that they want to bring. I think Theme Park is a lot easier to attack now that these impact EMPs are in the game. Because before you'd see Thatcher taken off the board in the ban phase, Maverick taken off the board in the ban phase, and a lot of times, if both of those are gone, you've hand-shook into it. You know that it's going to be a rough attacking half. But the only real tool left a lot of the times was that Carly. A lot of teams, not massive fans of the Carly. Impact EMPs, they give you that flexibility. We've seen both teams running different operators that bring that to the table. Marv has been rocking that Lion a lot on the attacking side. That's another operator who's going to be very impactful here for the side of Swansea on their attacking half. But for Exeter, what's their pickup? I don't know, but I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see some of the line coming through from Exeter as well. But for me, one of the big things about Theme Park, it's all about the nade play. So much of this map is destructible. You know the very limited spots where the defenders are going to be able to sit. So we sometimes see teams, particularly before the impact EMPs, they would bring 6 frag grenades to a site just to try and force people out of positions, to try and get those kills from above or below and just be a real nuisance. I want to see a little bit of that still coming on through. We didn't see a lot of it really on Clubhouse. I think maybe saw 1 or 2 nades being thrown into spicy positions. So if we can get a lot more of that here on Theme Park, that should make this quite exciting and should definitely help to add more into this being in the attacker's favour.
Yeah, and I think it will be interesting to see how that's kind of chosen to be dealt with, because Nook, an operator who gets banned a lot, is one of these premier frag grenade holders. You're looking at Diana, you're looking at the Sledge. Finker lost them a little while ago now, so no longer that. That's not a tool. Maverick lost them back a little beginning of the season as well. That's not really no longer an option for you. The only other real nade option is Glaz, and I mean, it'd be cool if we saw a Glaz come out. I wouldn't complain to see some Ying, see some Sense maybe come into the mix. Pair that with a Glaz. You ban away the Warden. It starts to piece together. But I think I'm getting a little bit into the
That's like-
magical Christmas land sort of thing.
You're
here.
banning 3 operators and you're picking an entire lineup just for maybe like 2 kills in a round. Like, it would be really sick to see, but I don't think it's gonna happen. If we do, then I'll buy a hat and eat it. But we are going to be getting on into the round here.
2 whole kills, man. That's a lot of kills. That's more than I get in a ranked game, Dino. So if you're telling me that I can get 2 in 1 round, I'm taking you up on that offer. But the Nook taken away by Swansea. Don't want to have to deal with this creepy, crawly little operator crawling around the map, throwing nades at you, using that suppressed FMG9 and just you down. So just gonna get rid of it. No longer have to worry about it, and that does make those cameras a little bit more reliable, right? You take out that risk factor. Exeter, though, we just spoke about that Lion pick that Marv has been a big fan of. They're going to be taking it away, which also just further enables these roaming games, which Swansea will get to start, though.
Yeah, and well, they've decided we don't want Vabs to have any fun at all. Not allowed. Go away. And they're going to get rid of that Alibi, who Vabs was so effective on back on Clubhouse, running around with the MX4 Storm, and that 1.5 combo is just lethal. So instead of going for, someone who's got lots of utility, they've just decided to get rid of Vabs' strongest operator, and then Swansea are going to get rid of the Mirror. It feels more like Swansea ban Mirror because they don't play Mirror and they want to leave everything else open.
Here's the question, though. Vabs, what do you play here? Because you're looking at the 1.5 times, you're looking at some of your options, right? You got the Warden MX or MPX 1.5, not half bad. The Valkyrie's going to be coming out. The other MPX operator doesn't have a 1.5.
Well, I guess he's probably going to have to change up his playstyle. We did see him on the Valk a little bit last week. That was an operator that he did bring out occasionally. He was having a bit of a worse day last week, though, so might be when he's stepping into more of a supporting role and unable to go off and get those kills that he likes to pick up the Valk. But it is still a low recoil weapon, great headshot potential, and, being on the Valkyrie, you do get a lot of additional utility for this team. You get to place those 3 cameras around the map, and that's just a lot of intel that you can gather for your side. So I think the Valk is a strong pickup. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a switch out onto a Malusi at some point from him. I think that could also be quite a strong pick.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Well, we'll have to see. As the starting attack coming in, all of these members over by bumper cars, looking to storm over towards this top floor. And you want to try and clear out this roam on the top floor. You want to try and deny these players above. But it doesn't look like from the silhouettes that there are going to be many of the Swansea members picking up this spot. Because, well, I guess they just don't really want to invest too much above when you can play below. Throne is that very popular site for defenders to hold on to because these breaches can be a little bit complicated to get open up. You have the mute chambers, you have Matthew rocking this operator just to slow them down. And then when things start to get opened up, that's where you have that K to try and trick off these breaches to make things a little bit more difficult for Exeter to make their entry. And now, just very quickly walking through this top floor, actually, I like the pacing that they're going for here. Having these drones with their entries, making sure they get this space without really wasting too much.
Yeah, this map can be quite a wasteful map in that you can waste a lot of time, you can waste a lot of utility, and, waste a lot of manpower and get exactly nowhere. So seeing Exeter being smart with their utility, getting a bit of pace behind them, and starting to really get this top floor clear going is a very healthy sign to see. We are going to have sums on this Sledge. Start to maybe move a bit on up. Can start opening some angles onto the objective from where he is, but Not going to be doing anything just yet as he is concerned about roamers, and well, he definitely should be, as Vabs is one of them, and Vabs is going on to the hunt.
Just looking to try and open up some of this floor with the sledge. Vabs, though, could be cool, giving his position away a little bit, but he's still going to go for the swing. I don't know why Sums didn't turn around. He should have been the signal. Instead, Die able to get 2 through the breach as well. And in the space of 10 seconds, Exeter have found themselves, I was going to say the 1 versus 5, but Die perfectly tied out the round for me there. They have lost in 10 seconds.
Yep. They, what? They didn't clear out the top floor. They didn't sort of force Vabs from his position, meaning that Sums was just going to get eliminated upstairs. Die using the least favorable weapon on Kaid, save the pistol, manages to get 3 headshots in extremely rapid succession, and then the last player was just unable to impact the round and got picked off themselves. It's really... We were talking about how Exeter, this is their map pick. They know they're going to be starting off on the attack. We would expect them to be quite strong, and it sort of just seemed like, right, well, we'll open up this wall and we'll go for a plant behind the throne. Like, this is ranked. There was no extra dimension. There was nothing else going on. They didn't try and clear in from lobby.
No, I mean, you saw how that worked out for them, though, right? That they just had this very one-dimensional approach. The lurk above from Vabs just completely catching the sledge off guard. They didn't really have a way of getting much more work done at clearing out these back positions from the Swansea anchors, and it led to their downfall. And now Swansea move on to the next site. They're going to go on to the daycare, go on to the bunks, and just try and hold this top floor. You extend across because, well, Exeter, as you see, come in from bumper cars once again, want to try and take control of Cash, take control of Dragon, and get that forward pressure inside of control room, because if you can get that first half of the building, it becomes a lot easier to slowly peel away these defensive lineups. And you're looking at the picks coming through. You've got the 4 nades coming in on the Yana, on the sledge, but this Jackal as well, just to try and help catch some of this aggression from Swansea off guard. If you roam out, if you extend too far forwards and the Jackal can get a sniff of those feet, he will be able to pin you down very quickly.
And I'm just looking to see where Swansea have used their reinforcements. They've got all 10 out in play, but they didn't reinforce any of that quad wall looking on into Cafe. Instead, they've gone for this massive extension over towards the eastern portion of the map, making sure that all of this is closed off and trying to extend out as far as possible. But this is going to leave this western side very, very much exposed. And if they lose control of Cafe, it's going to put them in a pretty rocky situation, pretty dangerous situation to be in now that their rotations have been closed off with that last reinforcements being deployed late in the round.
I do like this, though, from Swansea, right? They're playing for this time, because you've already used one of those Selmas. You need to use another one to open up this main wall into sight. You got to get that access somehow. A third one, you might want to clear out top yellow, because enabling Vabs, Die on this Legion to be able to play at the top of yellow stairs, it's going to cause you a lot of problems when you try to cross through, especially with the wall in vault lockdown as well. So Swansea investing these reinforcements off, but it's all with this goal in mind of slowing things down, the impact threat coming through as well, just to try and get that second one off the wall. Isn't quite successful though, which means it will be open up still one more Selma in the pocket of Deathly 2 drop, but it's all going to be on whether iNoob can find the pick lurking up the yellow staircase.
Vabs is going to get the open kill of the round, though. Ben is going to be the first player to fall as Jaff is attempting to fight this player on the window, but the upside down rappel is going to save their life. Deathly is good for 1 as iNoob, who are putting so much onto this rotation, and it isn't going to get him anything as Jaff is going to follow up with another kill. Pogo is good for 1, but it's traded out, and now it's just Deathly left up 1 versus 2 after getting that opening kill of the 1 versus 3. The diffuser is downed, and he's going to land the shot onto Marv. I couldn't even see him without the outlines. Now Deathly's going to start to move on in. He knows where the last player was. Been able to recover the diffuser, get rid of the Vault Counter. Is going to go for the plant. A lot of space for Die to try and cover to deny this. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Deathly gets the diffuser down. Time now on his side, but on the run back, gets caught out, and Die is able to secure the kill and the diffuser. Going to get the round and give another round here to Swansea.
But I just don't get it, Dino. Alright? When you're in the 1v1, you don't turn your back to your opponent. Alright? This is very... Okay, you want to back out, you want to get out, you want to try and create this angle for yourself where the Legion is going to be in a very difficult position to try and retake, where they don't know where you're hiding. If you're going to go for this, at the very least, please just watch your angles as you fall back. The difference in speed and sprinting is not worth the rounds where this happens, where you end up losing out. I have to say, tremendous amount of credit to get into that 1 versus 1 position. Because from the way that the setup was from Swansea, right, they had invested all these reinforcements, they'd invested everything into denying you the space that you want to be able to get in, right, and slowing you down, making it just this attrition game on every resource you have, including that time bank, because it was so low in the end. But it didn't matter, right, because what happens? These picks are being watched, but they're just able to find 1v1s. They're able to take heads off as they're pushing through. These long angles from Swansea not really holding up long enough to deny this entry in. Well played from Dye at the end to secure that up, to tie things in very cleanly for the team.
Yeah, I mean,
5 seconds to go.
that round felt like there was a lot of mistakes on both ways. Deathly, of course, came in getting absolutely massive set of kills to be able to, you know, secure that. But it felt like the whole Exeter attack was missing that pizzazz, a little bit of an extra zhuzh to it to give it some real teeth. I never like to say that an attack that looks successful because one player had an exceptional round is really a strong attack, is really a good attack. I would have liked to have seen a bit more dimensions coming through from Exeter, but that wasn't the case, and they have decided to default back to bring in the shield. As it's going to be Jeff to get the opening kill, takes down Ben. Deathly is going to be there for the follow-up, but Matthew is right and ready for the trade. And now we've got Pogo on the Monty inside of the site with his teammates far and away, and Marv is going to be able to get the kill onto one. The sledge is inside of the site, but Sums is going to get taken down with the shotgun, and now Pogo on the Monty with the pistol is left in a 1 versus 4. He downs one, kills Marv, but eventually runs out of bullets, and that's going to be Vabs to get that round, as the Exeter just never really give it a chance.
I mean, it is an interesting idea to try and rush in, get your foot in the door, but ultimately didn't quite work out for them because they couldn't get these picks. When you rush, you want to make sure you guarantee that space, right? The idea is that you throw everything out the window about normal fashion of roam clear, but you need that safe space inside of the site. And you're looking at a site like Initiation, the whole point is to get behind that big pillar. They were able to get there, but they lost too many members getting into that position. If the Monty had just walked in, and you have a couple players holding the long angle, holding the cross, denying any nitro cells, getting a little bit aggressive if you need to, maybe that works out a little bit better for you. But instead, too many early losses just meant you didn't have the manpower to continue on that game plan, which led to eventually just you're in a position where you're going to get flanked, you're going to get caught out, and you have to look aggressively for gunfights without really the pressure or the normal conditions to be able to do so favorably. And that showed through.
Yeah, and Exeter really did nothing to try and deal with the utility from Swansea. You know, there were C4s available from Swansea that had they heard the plant start to go down, they could have, from a safe position, yeeted behind that pillar. And there was none of that, you know. Potentially just throwing even a smoke canister out and making it sound like someone's gone in. Everyone steps back, C4 comes through, lots of bullet sprays, and then you can start to work your way on through afterwards. But none of that took place. It was just, right, Pogo, walk up to door, try and get behind the pillar, and we'll see what happens from there. And that, like, Monty's strategies are hard because you've only got 4 guns against 5. That wasn't even a Monty strategy. That was just a round where it was, let's bring a Monty and we'll try and go for a plant. Like, for how much I was expecting from Exeter on this attack, this has been incredibly disappointing as Marv. He tried his best to not do any spawn peeks today, but eventually had to go for one and gets caught out as we've got this jump out. Maybe lined up upstairs. No, Dye decides to play it safe.
I like that, right? You've already lost Marv. You just look to just try and get a safer way back into the round. Even if you go 1-for-1, that's still not enough. No impact, but is able to shoot off the... Oh, beautiful Beautiful from Dai, just waiting patiently, just shooting it off before anything goes awry. The second charge being dropped down. Oh no, no! Exeter, not like this! Not like this, Exeter! Why? What are you doing to me, man?
No one did
You just
anything about it.
They didn't even check it, Dino.
The first one got shot off, and no one was like, "Let's send a drone through" or anything. They were just, "Let's try again." Baffling, really. Dai is still on the roam and can come through and ruin this later. They've done nothing to clear out this top floor.
Dino. What? How? How does that happen? This round in which they had that opening advantage. Oh, I knew. Able to turn around in time to shut down Dai. You're in a 5v3. The problem now is you're still restricted to walking in through 2 doorways. Right? You've got Split, you've got Dragon. You've got to pick one. And with 3 members alive, there is still the opportunity for Vabs in this position on Furnace to hold the crossfire down. The shotgun, tight on the corner in the hands of Matthew, is going to be a big deal breaker for them here. The Banshee able to give them some assistance, going to take a little bit of damage, trying to peek out, trying to get the first pick, but Vabs is able to do that instead, able to get down Ben. Sledge still above, or it wasn't Sledge, what was it above? The Zofia above? Looking to try and open up some of these floors, but Vabs gets another one in the smoke as well. Deathly pushes Jab through the doorway, but Matthew able to get the refrag out for them in this advantage. But Pogo has found his way into sight. He's able to get down one. Matthew swapping to the SMG-11, gets one back, but Sums in the back of Armory, able to just find the nail that he needed to win the round out for them. And you know what? When they lost those 2 exothermic charges, I thought it was over. But they were just able to continue to play off of this man advantage.
The man advantage was huge. The one kill that I would have liked to have focused on a bit more in that round was the so it was Matthew, there was Vabs, and I forget who was the last player alive from those 3. But when we saw Matthew play aggressive on that doorway, that dragon doorway, he gives up his position. Everyone knows exactly where he is. It's sort of mental check 1. Vabs was playing tucked in close behind the furnace. That's going to be a pretty expected position, mental check 2 coming through from Exeter. And they were able to isolate that 3rd player who was sitting around by throne. Now, there are other positions that he could have been sat, but that throne position was particularly overexposed. Exeter were able to isolate that kill, secure it, and then it forces Vabs to have to play more aggressively. So you see him swinging out into the wider space of the room, and Matthew, he's tucked in a very specific corner to get the kills that he needs to, but because they already know he's there before he's even gotten into an engagement, this is well-known information that Exeter are going to be able to predict the next step before it even happens. And it's all of these little micro plays that start to come through that let Exeter get that advantage in the end of that round there, as well, of course, as the 2 opening picks that went their way uncontested.
Yeah, and now looking to try and drone out from lockers, trying to get this space. Swansea going to be running this site back once again. Dai isn't in that same position on top of Dragon, right? Yes, it worked out brilliantly last time. Yes, they were able to get those 2 exothermics. But Exeter playing it a little bit more safely this time. Instead, bring that ace as well as the Habana, getting that early pressure onto the wall at the bottom of yellow, but it's not quite enough. They're able to get one side of the wall opened, but the other one is locked down. Interesting, investing the Nitro Cell just to keep that locked down for a little bit longer, make it a little bit harder for Exeter to get in. The second EMP coming through to try and finish off this breach. Dai's just going to have to give it over.
Yeah, at that point, you've already used up 1 Nitro Cell. You've got 3 more available, but it's not really worth it to use all of them just to deny this one wall from being opened up, because yellow, it does give you an access point in, but it's not the most important area of the map to maintain, as Vabs is going to be in an absolutely critical position. He goes to swing onto Ben, but instead of being able to hold onto the top floor, he goes to the repeak and gets eliminated by the Iana, and now this round really starts to build momentum with a lot more pressure being able to be applied onto these players inside of the site, and without that potential of Roma coming through later on, things are going to start getting real awkward here. The nades from Ben starting to go through, not quite going deep enough to be able to deal with the player sitting around the back of Furnace, but Marv does take a lot of damage off that second one.
Yeah, they able to get a drone into this position. The Gemini coming through should drop and reveal his location. I knew Gonna get rid of that black eye, get rid of that information onto Split as he bounces another nade through the drone hole. That still not gonna get out Marv as Die gets one onto Deathly. This breach is proving hard to push through as Ben is able to get one onto Die walking through, but Marv pops up and shoots him in the back. The breach swing coming through for a trade, and everything is suddenly falling in favor of Exeter. Still one injured inside of sight, and Matthew on this flank is creeping around. Could be a massive upset, but the sprint gives his position away. Able to get one onto Pogo. Sums and Ainu both inside of sight. Sums putting that diffuser down. Ainu trying to give the supportive cover. He's very low on HP. The Treyer's going off. It's going to give him all the signal he needs, but as he walks through, can't find the sledge, ducking behind the cover, temporarily breaking that line of sight, and that is all that Ainu needed to find and finish off that kill.
Yeah, the sprint giving up his position and, you know, allowing them to be a bit more predictive. I think there must have even been a drone in the hallway because that pre-fire from the sledge was coming through before he even challenged onto the doorway. So there must have been some kind of information being fed back towards Exeter to provide that level of intel. But I think the early game, or the early part of that round where we saw Vabs on the roam, he engages Ben. And as soon as he realizes that he doesn't get that kill, to me, the idea there is disengage. Just completely run away, because they're going to have to deal with you. They're going to get the hatch open. You can't stop that now. But you've still got a nitro cell. And if you're still alive and a threat upstairs, they have to deal with you. They kill Vabs. They send out an extra drone. They go, right, that's a nitro cell gone. We know they've got a Valk. We're all alive and fine. I can use my nades without worrying about what's going to happen behind me. And there's a bit of a jump there in sort of what you're able to do just because Vabs doesn't go, right, I'm going to run away now.
Yeah, and well, you're looking at what options they have here now. Running this site back for the third time, and Exeter seem to have just found out how to break it down. They have the clue now. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe running back the top floor is something I would have liked to see just for a little bit. Go back to one of those more comfortable sites. This time Ben up on the top floor, approaching from Cash side. He wants to try and get into this early engagement with this upstairs roam to try and shut down these members. But Sums on the Nomad, who's been brought to try and shut them down, has nearly been taken out very early on as this pressure from Dragon Stairs is just, I mean, Vabs is unrelenting. Not quite going to drop back. He wants to push this advantage, wants to try and find the kill, but taking a little bit of damage for it. Now stuck at top Dragon.
And this is potentially going to get dangerous for him. He had the opportunity before to disengage and make his way back on in towards the other areas of the top floor, but instead he's choosing to remain aggressive. It worked out for him on Clubhouse, but it's costing his team here as Ben's going to be able to get that kill onto Vabs. And yes, that is 2 players now on incredibly low HP for Exeter, but that is 2 players lost and not a lot of time wasted. No kills gained. They are going to be able to still bring their full force to bear on this take, and they've already opened up some of this thrown wall, which is going to give Exeter a massive amount of control here.
Ooh, now the breach opened up from maintenance as well. Makes this a little bit harder as Barrels is also open. Every possible angle available, Jaff will fall to Ben. Too many spots to watch, too many things to be careful of. The Barrel sticking around the corner, and Marv thinks that might be the commitment, but it's not quite enough as Ben just pushing through deeper and deeper, trying to find these picks on in. The swing comes in. They have full control of Throne, and the plant is going down. Matthew on the top of Dragon is able to get one, but I have a bad feeling it's all in vain as he doesn't check the left, and Inoob is able to collect the final kill of the round. And Swansea, after a great start, just relied on the same site too many times.
Yeah. Why didn't they go back upstairs?
Dunno. They had a perfect sweep.
Yeah. Could have gone back upstairs. Could have gone even over to drug storage. But no, just decided to try the same site over and over and over again. I mean, was it the third round where it was initiation and we saw the Monty come through? It may have felt like a bit of just in the moment desperation, let's try and go for it, but they might legitimately just, that could have been the best attack that Exeter had planned for that site. and you're not even a little bit curious to see if you can exploit that again. You know,
Yeah,
I would be.
I know what you mean. I think it's a hard call because I think especially when a site like Throne Armory is so popular, is so strong, is deemed to be the best. But you had a good showing on top floor. I think sometimes we see teams overcommit on an idea, and I think this has been an example of that. And now, well, they get punished for it, right? And so we have to see them go on their attacking half now, bringing that Osa, which is something that was banned last time on Clubhouse. Fabs picking up this operator. You have the Talonates available. You have the Impact EMPs, which will help you to get these breaches open on up, especially because the only denial coming out on the side of Exeter is these mutes. So you time the EMP, you just put the exothermic down, it will get going. There are plenty of impacts though, and that is something you will have to be just a little bit more careful about.
Yeah, particularly with the downstairs breaches onto Throne Armory, but some of these upstairs walls in later rounds, you'll be able to get away with it a bit more. Pogo goes for the spray through the wall, and actually lands a little bit of damage onto Jaff, but isn't enough to secure the kills. Now we're seeing what we should have seen a bit more from Swansea in my mind. We had these engagements, and they decided to back off. They decided to take up more space across this top floor and extend the engagement out for longer. We see Matthew really slow down. He was making good progress over towards initiation, and now he's stuck in his position. Zainoob has been given the opportunity to come all the way over and assist from an additional angle to really throw a spanner in the works here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Thunderbird rocking the Spaz 15. The Bearing 9, a brilliant weapon if you can get in the right engagement range for it. Sometimes at longer distances, that recoil can be a little bit bouncy, but for holding such tight positions, definitely an excellent tool to have available. And now, just hugged in behind this vault door, I think Swansea have thrown past it. I don't think they were expecting this rotation to come through. As Jaff is dropping down, recognizing that he needs to start assisting this opening for the breach. As, well, Dragon in their hands. It's all going to be on Matthew. Can he just apply enough pressure? But I think if you're focusing enough on Throne, you don't need to overinvest inside of Office. You can instead just try and deny this roam game, to try and deny anyone taking up this space to get the Dragon. First impact comes through, doesn't catch the charge though. Oh, and Babs able to get down one Matthew a second as they get this breach open on up, and the roamers starting to fumble.
Yeah, they were holding great positions, but they didn't apply enough pressure onto Swansea during the setup, so Swansea are indeed set up and ready for this collapse to come through. Swansea didn't extend it all the way around over towards the main lobby side of things, so we are going to see at least one of the players make their way back onto the objective to keep it 3 down on the site. And we are still seeing some players from Swansea upstairs having to be concerned about the potential of a flank. This is going to be Ben to get the kill onto Die, and it's going to follow up with a lot of damage onto Vabs as Jaff is just walking on in, not caring about where the shots have come from. Is going to be able to secure one. Sums is there immediately for the trade, but Vabs is expecting it. It's just a running rotation of people fighting and dying over exactly the same spot as now it's definitely left in the 1 versus 3. Gets the down at range with the SMG-11, but the flank coming on through from the sledge is going to be able to secure that one.
Again, this round was just built upon that early play from Swansea of getting this top floor control and not over-aggressing into this back-dropping roam. Right, Swansea clearly recognised the control that they wanted to get. And when they had it, they didn't fret. They didn't worry too much about, oh, there's other people upstairs who might cause problems for us. No. They had Matthew in the position they wanted him, recognizing what he could hold back. They get the breach open. They start applying pressure into sight. These 2 picks that they were able to find, one in sight, one upstairs, that is then the signal for while this chaos is happening in sight, while the anchors are under pressure and the comms are a little bit more cluttered, you can have Matthew start to play a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more of this sort of this lurker game, right, where he looks for these picks upstairs and drops in for the wraparound behind, and it worked out perfectly for them. And now Exeter, they are going to rerun this hold onto Throne and Armory. And the big thing for me is we saw what happened when Swansea overcommitted to a site that they liked. I don't want to see Exeter stumble, slip up, lose too many rounds in the same way, because if you drop down this round, you go 5-3, it can be a little bit hard to, from a mental side of things, pick up the confidence to take back some of these other sites. But the changes they're making are ones that I am a big fan of. I think bringing this Azami is an excellent pick.
Yeah, Azami can definitely you know, change up how you play the entire site and just the entire map at times. I think using some of those Azamis inside of the objective itself, particularly in the later stage of the round, being able to use it to really turn Throne into an incredibly strong anchor point, eliminating some of the weaker angles that you have to deal with there, as well as potentially being able to use it to shut off the doorways during the last few seconds of a push, could be pivotal. For the time being, we are going to see things in terms of positioning sort of start the way that they did before, with lots of pressure being applied upstairs by both teams as Exeter making their presence known but not overcommitting into engagements, which was something that we did see occasionally from Swansea.
Yeah, and just trying to get this control at the top of the dragon. It's AUE who's lurking in this spot. And, well, the drone coming through gives him away, using these keepers just to deny a lot of these doorways, almost using them as makeshift castle barricades. Well, just to fortify his position up a little bit. Now playing at the bottom of the staircase, looking, but Jaff able to find the first frag, and that's a big one to get. You take down that Jaeger. Pogo has been very good at getting himself into tricky situations, just causing a little bit of a nightmare for Swansea Storm in some of these rounds. No longer have to worry about that roaming threat. AUE still on the staircase, looking to retake this angle. Be careful when you jump in, but you don't even have to. Marv gonna fall, just peeking on in. And Sums, a little bit of damage dealt, but ultimately able to escape with their life. Well, it looks like they're stuck inside a vault, and Swansea know it.
Going to be difficult to try and maintain this. Those legs potentially sticking up, but Vabs doesn't see it. Sums is going to be good for one. They weren't entirely aware. They maybe thought they'd been able to escape the net, but Vabs is in the position for the immediate trade. So it's 3 versus 3 now with just under a minute to go. Dice still has both of those exothermic charges available, but there are still 3 impacts left on the side of Exeter that could be used to deny these breaches from going off. One of them is on AUE, who's not in a position to stop the wall as Vabs. He knows that there's something going on, but he isn't in a position to be able to secure that kill. As AUE doubles up here, drops the diffuser outside the doorway of Gong, and is now just going to be able to play around as he gets the triple kill at the end there. Exeter bringing that Azami and using it to great effect, even if it is just for the gun.
Yeah, and that's a quad kill in the round as well. When you add on that kill onto Marv early on as well, playing from that Dragon window. And so now, Exeter able to get that important win on Throne and Armory, able to move on to a new site. It's going to be the Bunks and Daycare. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we see them hold this, right? A lot of these rounds on Throne, they've had this upstairs presence. They've had this extension where they're willing to play a lot of this top floor, willing to buy a lot of time from the side of Swansea. And that's how Swansea approached some of these upstairs sites. You'd see things like the Mutes, the Legions, the Malusis coming in just to eat away at that resource, that time bank. The army coming through for AUE is another sticking point that I really like to see, especially with the kind of the lack of access teams can get to explosive nades it's at the moment, especially when you're looking at options like, I mean, Yana lost the Gon 6, Finka no longer has nades. You got the Zofia, which I think is going to really help with buying through this. The impact EMPs on the Dokkaebi aren't going to have that much impact in this situation as well. But as I'm talking about this operator, as I'm talking about how it will really help them hold some of these positions down, Ben has done the unthinkable. He's taken out his teammate. Nice shots
shot.
coming in the chat.
Nice shot. Yeah.
Yep.
That's my kill.
That's your kill.
Yeah, just put it down against my name on the score sheet.
Cool. Let me jot that down for you.
Thank you. Yep.
You're welcome.
Just gotta make sure you get the stats up, you know?
Yeah, of course. Stat padding. Always important.
Exactly. Oh, we've just had an update come through. Warwick have beaten Royal Bears 2-0 in the lower bracket, as Sums is going to be there to get the kill onto Vabs. So that means that the winner, or the loser of this game, is going to be going up against Warwick next time out. Going to be a fun matchup regardless of which team they end up facing.
Still this Valkyrie, Sums just causing... Never mind, he's dead. Now that they have that control over Cafe, they can start to apply a little bit of pressure into the backside of this extra setup. Ben still has these magnets, which he's able to shore up this cash position. Just try and make things a little bit more difficult for Swansea Storm to enter. Make it a little bit more awkward for them to get that control. And now, well, Matthew, he's creeping. He's slowly walking. He doesn't want anyone to know, Dino. He just wants to make sure that he can get to this hatch nice and safely. And if they can start to put that pressure onto Ben, try and clear out this half of the map, it will become a little bit easier. But the rotations have come through. It's going to be focusing a lot more on Cafe, which this rotation at the top of yellow is going to be something they have to keep in mind if they commit to this, because there's always that option that you get shot in the side, which isn't very friendly.
The timing on this, the Jaeger's been able to work his way up and is going to be positioned by the box. Wasn't seen through the angle. So much that could be going on here, but the shots just aren't quite lining up for either side at the moment. Jaff has been able to work his way around this quad wall. He's going to be able to catch the Jaeger off on the side, but isn't there quick enough and is going to be immediately traded out by Ben, positioned at the top of the stairs, who follows up, making up for his earlier mistake. Technically a triple kill in the round for him, as it is going to be now a quad if you include the team kill to start it all off, as Matthew is going to be the final player from the side of Swansea to fall.
That was interesting. I think a big part of that was that position at top yellow, right? You just had enough crossfires for X so that when Swansea tried to walk in, they'd get caught off, and even if they had someone else in position, that was quickly shut down. This network from Exeter just doing bits for them on their defense, and there was nothing that Swansea could really do to break this link-up play. And, well, now Exeter have the lead. First time they have the lead here on Theme Park, and on the defensive side, that is your opportunity to push home an advantage. They're going to go to the other top floor site, and a lot of people will tell you that defending Theme Park is a bit interesting, because you got Throne Armory, which is a very popular bomb site, very cool to play. But then you go upstairs, and you have either Site A or the two doors next to it, you have Site B. They play very similarly, and it's interesting as an attacking lineup how you choose to differentiate this. Some teams will go for that cafe push instead. They'll go from the opposite side, basically, right? Where you play for that space, you look for these long corridors, you try and take control of yellow, open up the breaches, and push on into site. Some teams will live and die by taking Cash and Dragon. Exeter were a Cash and Dragon team. They loved Cash and Dragon. They would never give up Cash and Dragon control. They always wanted it for themselves. Are Swansea the same? Well, we're seeing one spawning by main door. We're seeing a couple more over by cafe. So it looks like this is the extended kind of take we're going for. It's interesting to see how it works out for them, especially with Dai bringing that Monty to the party.
Yeah, teams seem to be quite fun of bringing Monty for this site, or at least these two teams seem to be quite fun of it, as Ogo is positioned over towards these yellow stairs. He's going to be dealing with some drones and some Ianas, and not quite able to fully deal with all of it. Finally is able to get rid of that drone, as the hatch above him has been opened on up. He is concerned about a drop coming on through, but nothing's going to happen just yet. But that is a Twitch drone that he's gotten for free as iNoob. I was going to say his position is undetected and might be able to throw a real spanner in the works, but Matthew, it just seems to know more than me, as that is going to be the Azami getting eliminated. More drones being sent over towards Pogo to force him out of where he is. He's just going to be able to back away for now. That wall getting opened up by Matthew leads to an immediate punishment, as Ben, still trying to make up for his mistake in the last round, is going to be good for the kill onto Marv.
And now this Monty becomes a little bit more cautious. You need someone to drone out top arcade before you can walk on through, and that's exactly where Pogo is starting to walk across to. He's going to fall back to Drug Lab. I think a drone was there, spotted him out, and he shot it and fallen away, but still that eternal problem for Dai, because you don't want to get caught out in the back. In fact, that's why you're vulnerable. You have a big shield in front of you. You want people to be looking directly at you. And now trying to get this pressure over across, you don't have the hard breach gadget on the Monty, you have the EMPs. That will help out Vabs get the breach open on up, as you haven't been able to really get too much work done on that just yet. But still, Pogo back on this position on yellow, Dino. Really dangerous.
Yeah, and there's no one in a position to challenge him. Yes, the gunfight is at range, so you would, in theory, give the benefit over to the attackers, but the attackers have a lot of angles to worry about. Jaff, though, is able to make it work as this wall behind him starts to get opened on up by those Selma breaches. We are in a 3 versus 3 now, but you have to remember, in terms of gunfights, this is only a 2 versus 3. Dai isn't really in a position to be able to use his weapon effectively, as some quick trades come on through. It's now Vabs and Dai up against Sums and Deathly. As Die almost overexposed themselves, but it's going to be Vabs to get the kill onto Deathly. In response, the last player of Sums is known. His position is found. He's rotating all the way around back through Dragon over towards Initiation, which is going to give Vabs the ability to go for the plant, but that does mean that his only cover is coming in the form of Die, who's going to be able to just block off this one doorway. No impacts, no rotation. He just needs to stand here, and Sums either has to go for the rotation or the long and arduous battle of trying to take down a Monty guarding a door, and he's actually going to be successful on the Monty, but Vabs, given enough time to recover, relocate, and refrag, is going to be able to secure the round for Swansea.
I miss the good old days where Monty didn't move when you meleeed him. So you just stand in the doorway and have no fear. You could just go off, get yourself a drink, die showing there why you still have to be a little bit cautious, right? It's like a mini clash where you get that melee, you got to adjust your mouse a little bit to cover that exposed leg. But ultimately, while that was happening, Vab's able to put himself into a position where the moment that Malusi walks through the doorway, Sums is getting beamed, and that's what happened. But Swansea able to bounce back big, and I think part of that was due to being able to, once this roam was kind of dealt with, take that control and catch off Pogo, right? You have the site, all the important utility was still alive. You still have the Monty, who can walk up and create that space for you, splitting in between this waiting room in two, right? They were able to have that pressure inside of Initiation no longer really be a problem for them, while focusing in on Office. And we saw Sums forced to back up, forced to rotate away. But Throne and Armory is back available again for Exeter, and 50% win rate, better than Swansea's. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out, because we've seen a couple times Swansea have this upper hand advantage. They get good space control around site, they get the breach open up, they push in, they take it very comfortably. Other times they really struggle with this roam upstairs. It was Ainoob on this pick who caused most of the problems. Got a quad kill last time they played this site, and it was using these keepers, using these same positions, he's setting himself up from again. Swansea, their plan for dealing with it will have to be a good one.
Now we're seeing a full setup coming through this time from Ainoob. Going to close off some of the doorways, leaving some with just enough space to go for a crouch through, impacting open the nice wall by Dragons, giving him an extra nice angle onto the door of Gong. As Vabs, he started off this map a little bit slow, but has eventually built up speed over time and has become a real force to be reckoned with in these last few rounds. He's going to start off this one getting the kill onto Pogo, like you say, opening up the round nice and early for Swansea. But now are they going to be able to capitalize on it and extend it? We are seeing a bit of a switch in their strategy, as this time they're coming through from the west instead of from the east, but that's just going to give Sums the opportunity to take a fight from a different angle, and he's going to win that one out, and Vabs, as soon as they start to pick him up, is of course going to be eliminated.
Well, that's a great start for them now, and the drone's flying through, trying to gather this information. I'd like to see Matthew start to push forward with it, so that when that drone spots someone out, he's there to capitalize on it as well. Instead, it will be shot out, and Swansea will start to move further forwards across this top floor, as the next drone, again, in a position to be shot out and backed off. Exeter able to gather these information tools and just continue to wait out this timer. Matthew, now inside of control, is going to force Ainoob to drop down, but they're just falling into Gong. Gong door hasn't been opened up. They haven't got this threat dealt with. There's still kind of a problem in this round. Vab's dead. Die, your only hard breacher left. Things becoming a little bit more difficult, especially with just, they're lurking. They're hiding, Dino.
Yeah, they've finally been able to clear out the top floor, so they do have full control here. The rotations might come through later on, but Marv is going to be holding down the Dragon rotation. There is actually a player who's inside of Gong and now into storage that could continue to make things awkward. 35 seconds to go. Swansea really do not have any sort of control over how this next stage is going to take place. They are going to try and open up this yellow wall. Looks like it is going to be successful. No impacts coming on through. Still, players from Exeter in very safe spots to just be able to wait, and there isn't time to deal with them and isolate them and force them out of their positions. There's just going to be people walking into pre-prepared angles. It's all going to come down very quickly, and a big crash, bang, and kills going the way of Exeter. The shotgun now is going to come out for Deathly, but he's not going to get any of them, actually. Die is going to be good for one. The plant is going to be taking place inside of the smoke. The knife going to come on through, and there is going to be Ainoob to get the double to close it out.
I mean, again, another round which is just chaotic, right? And Swansea doing a good job clearing out this roam, able to get the pick onto Pogo early on. I think he was going for a spawn peek that Vabs just shut down. But again, you get that initial control. You start droning in, push forward with these drones. Take that space. You had one back on top Dragon, one back in Cash. And what are you doing? You're holding long angles. You're sending drones in. They get shot. And then you send another drone in, which then gets shot, and then the players just fall back, and now they're lurking in maintenance, they're lurking in Gong. They're not off the table, they're still threats for you, they're still going to cause you problems. And that's exactly what happened. The two players who wrapped around the back of Swansea, the two players who got them out, who is it? It's Sums on the Malusi, who was upstairs. It's Ainub on the Azami, who was upstairs. These players are not disappearing in the round. They're just coming back to haunt you later on. And it's about committing harder, committing a little bit more to getting these roamers out, because you have a minute left, and you have no wall open. One player dead, but you've lost a player. Two players lurking. It's not good for you, right? It's not brilliant. At least if they were all shepherded into one corner, that's something. But they're still not.
Yeah, you cleared them out the top, but you took so long to do it that they then just, like you say, sat around exactly wherever they wanted to in sight and just made things absolutely horrendous for you. And now we are seeing Swansea one round away from this going to map number 3, as Exeter have been able to secure map point here. If we do go to that third and final map, it will take place on Oregon, which should in theory be an even closer matchup between these two teams, as that map, as I like to call it, is the Great Equalizer. What was that? I just dropped a shield and tried to fire some pistol shots through a window. Okay.
Exeter on match point here. So Swansea need this round win to take us to overtime here on Theme Park, or we'll be seeing that decider over Oregon. And I'm sure that's what Exeter are itching for. Vabs able to get a pick. He's no longer on that hard breach. He's been a little bit unchained, but deathly able to get the refrag in very quickly. He's made that early aggression downstairs, shut down pretty quickly. Twitch drones coming through, trying to find some value, if not, just shock out a couple members of this defense, get a little bit of damage onto Pogo. But now the setup, very one-dimensional here. You're looking very much into the whole cafe. Ben, the long angle, trying to catch off Jaff, but unable to land the required headshot to do the job. Dai just waiting, though. He doesn't want to push too far forwards in. Matthew trying to flank around on the back has been caught out and shut down, Dino. And I have to say, this push from Swansea has been, well, not brilliant.
Yeah, and it's not getting any better, as Ben once again seems to have a thing for killing his own teammates. Dai is going to be able to get a follow-up kill to draw this now into a 1 versus 2, but this is a 1 versus 2 where the Monty is the one, and last two players are sitting inside the site with lots of time to deal with. He's going to go on a bit of a ring of the rosy, but Pogo is going to be able to there to get that kill, get the map, and force us all the way now onto map number 3, which is going to be Oregon.
It is, and you know what? We've had a clubhouse where things have been kept kind of simple. We've had a theme park where we've been sent for a bit of a spin. Oregon will be the calm, I think, that we need at the end of this series. Maybe we get an explosive end, and I'm hoping for an explosive end. Maybe Exeter able to pull up the upset, but you'll have to wait. We're going to go up to a short 5-minute break, and then we'll be back. So if you do go, make sure you time yourself. Be back in 5 minutes. It only takes, like, what, 3 minutes to make popcorn?
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London. Saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Map number 3, time now. It's going to be Oregon to separate these two teams who have been going tooth and nail to reach this point. Swansea Storm versus Exeter Terrific. It all comes down to the decider. Dino, we're back again for one final bout of action in the upper bracket final of the Null Winter R6 Prize Playoffs. Who do you think's taking it? Before we jump into the game, just give me your thoughts. Who's taking it?
We saw a very strong Swansea on Oregon last week.
We did.
That means that Exeter also saw that. Exeter have undoubtedly watched that game, have looked through the VOD and seen, what Swansea went for, what their strategies were, and all the rest of it. So, I think just based on the performance and decisions made by Swansea on Theme Park, I'm gonna have to go with Exeter. I think Exeter should have the advantage here if they've done their research properly.
Oh, Dino. Well, we'll have to see what happens, I guess, right? Because you're looking at this, and I think it is one of these interesting discussions of how much does that VOD help? How much have Exeter actually checked the VOD? Because that's the other part of it, right, as well. We'll see some teams, they don't check it. They play to their game plan instead, focus more on that. And maybe that will come back to haunt them. But you're not wrong. The decision making throughout the series at times from Swansea has been a little bit spotty, and I think we need someone there just to try and consolidate ideas a little bit better. I wasn't a massive fan of some of the takes that Swansea went for on Theme Park. However, Oregon is a very different map to Theme Park. Theme Park, a big deal of this, one of the reasons why you pick it if you learn it, is because you know that you're going to get games, you're going to get matchups where your opponent just doesn't know what they're doing, where your opponent just doesn't have an idea of how they want to play the map. It was a tight game, despite some of these interesting decision-making moments from both teams. They were ultimately Exeter able to drag it over the finish line, secure their map. I think this is going to go more similarly to the way of Clubhouse. I think Swansea enable Vabs. You just play to him. Let him do what he wants. He'll know the map well enough. And it's going to be about whether Exeter can chain him down, whether they can find the response to it.
I mean, maybe we do see Vabs pop off again. But, I mean, the normal rule is when you see a player go off and set a record-breaking number of kills, their team loses because that player has had to do literally everything in every round, and you can only do it so many times. We saw Vabs go absolutely mental on Clubhouse. He got loads of kills. We're going to say he had about 20. Right? But he wasn't able to match that on Theme Park. Was that just because he doesn't know the map? I don't know. But it's a lot of pressure to put on him when we go into Oregon, is what we're doing right now. And here we are looking at the most fun bit of the whole map, the operator bands.
I do love me a lovely operator band phase. In fact, sometimes I'll queue up for a game, I'll do the band phase, and then I'll just leave and I'll queue up again because it's so much fun getting to deny people the pleasure of playing Alibi. And I think that might be what happens here from Exeter, but Swansea starting off with Nook Ban. Again, this operator who has the ability to sneak past your cameras to deny your lines of information that you set up. And on Oregon, where you got a couple important cameras that watch over key parts of the map, key entry points, having that Nook to sneak by is a pain. Osa, it was gone for Clubhouse. It's going to be gone again from Exeter here. We saw Vabs pick it up a couple times on Theme Park and really want to try and make the best use of it, but alas, it's gone. Pair that with the Alibi, that crutch for Vabs is gone. Is it a crutch? He didn't step up to the plate as much as he did in Theme Park. I guess we'll find out here.
Maybe it could have just been a poor game of theme park from Vabs, but we are going to see the Valk get banned out as well. I say a poor game. He still had like 13, 14
yeah,
kills.
he was still going big.
He wasn't quite the 20 that he had before. So you have to sometimes temper our expectations of these players as a
Never.
no unrealistic expectations all the way.
Of course, it's half the fun, right? If you get under double-digit kills, you're not doing good enough. If you're not getting under 20, or if you're not getting over 20, and you're some of these key players, again, flame time. But on a more serious note, right? Obviously, two big games in terms of kill count. I think he's probably sitting at like a 35 over 2 maps. Pretty good, not shabby, to say. That's definitely more than 1 per round. So, you know, Vab's doing a great job. We need other members of Swansea to step up in some of these rounds if they want to convert them into wins. And now, this basement, we're seeing this mirror come in for the first time.
Yeah, not actually banned out by Swansea like it has been on the previous 2 maps. Instead, it's going to be the Valk that's getting removed from Swansea's side of things. So, despite the fact that they use that Valk quite a lot back on Theme Park, they don't want to sort of incorporate it into their normal lineup. But this is Oregon. Mirror is incredibly strong. You're starting out on the defense here. It's, you know, if you can use that to sneak out an extra round or 2, you kind of have to go for it. There is the potential that it gets used against you later on, but that's a risk you just have to take.
One drone able to be collected by Matthew and make it back down to the basement. No one inside of the tower to catch him off on that fallback. Ainu clearing out from the other side of the building, making his way over, but Matthew looking to get a little bit feisty at the bottom of the freezer staircase, looking to just try and challenge anyone coming through security. Again, backing off. So far, Swansea not wanting to engage too directly with Exeter.
Yeah, and that kind of makes sense, you know. We all know that this is going to come down to the last few seconds of the round, at least 90% of the time it does, is that Ainu was going to get the opening kill onto Vabs. That's a very important kill as Vabs that were it builds up in strength over the course of the round. To die with still a lot of time left on the board means that not all of those my discs have now been used. We are seeing quite an old mirror setup coming through, as we are watching Exeter gain a lot of control with a lot of time still available to burn. It's going to come down to the nous and the utility of these remaining Swansea players to see if they can really slow down this Exeter take.
Yeah, focusing around Washing, focusing around Freezer, means that they are looking to try and dislodge players like Matthew from these positions they're holding. This mirror window that Jaff is mantling is really important, but Ben able to push down, able to get past it. No one from Swansea dealing with this position as Pogo is able to get the next kill onto Die as well. Deathly walking down, it's going to take a little bit of crit damage from Jaff on this mirror window. The flashbang is coming through to try and make this position a little bit more difficult to challenge. Marv able to get one onto Ben. There's a second one in the freezer doorway that he has to contend with. Still, this patience from Jaff, just holding down the fort, but Marv goes behind. Jaff needs to pull off something big here as he's trying to rotate around, but Pogo just dashing through the site, cutting through the backline of Swansea. That's the end of the round. They take this first attacking win. Exeter looking on fire.
Yeah, and a lot of that you got to give credit to Ainu getting that kill onto Vabs over inside of Freezer. You can't be dying that early. You can't. Not in map 3. Not on Oregon. Not when you are the Wamai who gets more powerful over time. You need to be sitting nice and safe, not taking any engagements, because there's another 2 or 3 pieces of utility that probably could have been picked out by those Wamai discs that, you know, we didn't see happen. It all adds up, and gonna need to see a change coming through from Swansea to either be in a better position to refrag and start taking those kills back, or to just play safer overall.
Yeah. And I think that's the big deal for me here, right? Is that we just, when they're pushing in, we're not seeing this kind of setup from Swansea able to slow them down enough. The flashbangs come through, completely deny Jaff this position he's holding on the mirror window, and as it's happening, there's no one playing to watch this long freezer angle. That's one of the things you have to do, is the way you support your player on the lockers in freezer is by having a long contended angle that Ben can't just walk it down. He can't just walk straight up to Matthew and look for that 1v1 gunfight. He was able to do that, and it's a great job by Exeter recognizing every hole that Swansea give them and going for a slightly unorthodox take to do it. The Nitrocell invested early by Marv doesn't really get him anything in the round. He was going for that kind of cheesy little pick early on. Now you just lose that tool later in the round.
And it's not gonna... Well, if it works out, though, we say what a brilliant use of a Nitro Cell. He's an absolute genius and has won the round for his team. So that one I'm going to be less harsh about than ones that we've seen previously. But maybe it wasn't the most efficient usage of it, as Exeter already getting a lot of control, uncontested inside a meeting, opening up that hatch with, you know, over a minute and a half to go. This is going to create a lot of pressure onto Electrical and the players who want to be around blue, which is going to give Deathly the ability to gain a lot more control over towards this side of the map, and that is where Exeter are fully setting up for their take to come from. See Ash here of Sums starting to work his way down these back tower stairs. Again, a lot of time available for Exeter to get fully set up for this.
Marv looking to get aggressive on the doorway, able to get the injury onto Deathly, swing out with the pistol, secures the kill, but does get traded out. Pogo brought down to very low HP, as Elbow now reinforced means it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Exeter to get that entry in, right? You've got some potential ways of slowing things down, no denial on the wall though, which means that this Varna getting into that position will be able to shut it down, will be able to open up this long line of sight. Pillar control in the hands of Sums. He's watching long down. Die very tight on this corner, using the Toxic Babes early as he's brought to very low HP. Better to use that utility than to die with it. As he dies to the nade, Fab swinging very quickly, able to get one back onto Pogo. Shut down the Habana, looking for the second, but it's Ben able to win that tango out as the Jaeger. Just everyone invested in this gunfight. Jaff gets down Ben, but is found in a 1v2 now to try and bring home the round for his team. The damage from Sums on Pillar, just a little bit too difficult of an angle to contest against. The plant is going down on the default position. He has to be careful of the swing from Ebot catch, but Sums just playing on the door frame, playing around the chassis, just plays it perfectly. They come off the fuser, they hold the double angle, and they win out yet another attacking round onto basement, Dino.
Yeah, the defense that time from Swansea was much better, in my opinion. It lasts a lot longer. I do like the fact that we didn't see them bring a mirror, because with how quickly and how easily they were able to get, or Exeter were able to get control of the electrical hatch inside a meeting, it then meant that if the mirror had been there, that mirror would have been opened up, and then no one would have been able to play around blue, no one would have been able to play around Pillar, and you see a lot more of that pressure coming through uncontested from Exeter. My next sort of thing is, from the side of Swansea, they've opened up, we've used the tin can opener to get a nice little square on that blue wall towards sight, and it is going to give them a line of sight, but it's not such a big breach that you need to be so concerned about it that you throw 3 people at it. You can sit back. They can't bolt through. You still have smoke nades, C4s, all the rest of it to throw over safely, and if they try and push onto you, they have to go through a whole vaulting animation where they can't shoot you. Yeah, I feel like Swansea was so concerned with stopping that push in from blue that they wound up overextending themselves and potentially costing themselves a bit more than they necessarily needed to.
Yeah, they are not going to repeat the same triple throne hold, though. They're going to go, fail it twice, go up to top floor. Another site which most of the defending teams are very comfortable to hold onto. And it's interesting to see how this attack from Exeter is going to come on through, because you're looking at the positions that they're taking up. A little bit of pressure on Big Window, trying to open up this game's breach as well. Just looking for these tools. The deployable shield giving Marv a little bit of space to play around. Now, 1.5 on the Roni is a little bit lethal at times, right? You can really start to beam people down. It's just about whether he can temper this aggression. Instead, he's going to fall back. Doesn't want to overcost, doesn't want to risk his life.
And that's smart. The only sort of concern I have about that is they put in a lot of utility inside of that room. There's 2 ADSs, there's a shield, there's a whole host of equipment there to help him out, as it's just going to be forfeited as Ben is able to push on in and get the kill onto Jaff. The hatch not being opened up either is going to make things more difficult, as Die is good for 1 and is going to be able to escape. Still has those smoke canisters in hand, but there is a second player inside of Attic, and there goes the first Toxic Babe out to try and slow down the pace just a little bit, as Deathly is inside, is able to gain so much control, destroy all of this utility, as Sums and Deathly quickly put 2 kills on the board, meaning this is now a 4 versus 2 situation. Just Marv and Matthew from the side of Swansea left to attempt to slow this one down.
The breach open on up. We also saw Deathly drop that Claymore on the breach. So if he tries to go for the rotation, have to be a little bit wary of that possibility. Opening up pit as well to give themselves the rotation option to get on in. But now Marv looking to get aggressive on this doorway, watching the rotation, watching the breach, swings, but Deathly takes his head clean off. Matthew now stuck in the back of Dorms, and they know exactly where he is. This rappel holding off his angle as Sums just swings on in, is able to find the final blow. And so far, Exeter have been showing a masterclass on how to attack on Oregon. They are doing everything right, and Swansea just don't have the answers.
Yeah, Swansea just seem, again, like they were early on in Clubhouse, entirely lost. But that was their attacks that were lost and uncoordinated and weren't going their way. This is their defense on Oregon. We know they can defend on Oregon. We've seen it before. They just cannot seem to answer when Exeter sort of go at them. They are unable to slow down this utility, these gunfights that are going their way, and just even be able to make it feel like a close round a lot of the time.
Yeah, and ultimately Swansea just struggling to figure out what the correct response is. Now changing up the site once again, going for Meeting instead. Meeting I do prefer as the tertiary site, but when you've already lost both your mains, it feels a little bit rough to be bringing this out as your redemption pick, right? Normally you're looking at a site like this, and what would we be saying in the situation, Dino? We'd be saying, oh, well, this is the round you expect them to lose. This is where the attack can really start to find that momentum back. This is where the attackers can change up the mistakes, right? The defense will have less of a grasp over the site. You can take more control. That isn't the case here. It's being brought out, and the attackers are still in a dominating position in the scoreline. It's 3-0 to Exeter.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, like, this is normally the site where you have a breather, you have a reset if you're the attack. This is instead going to be just compounding the momentum on top of each other. At least you would expect it to be. We might see Swansea come out and be able to pull off a very nice defense here, but given how things have gone over the previous 3 rounds, you'd be hard-pressed to find many people who would believe that, as Vabs, trying to be a bit sneaky, is going to be able to get rid of 2 drones, as Pogo is going to get the kill onto Deathly. That's 3 team kills here for Exeter today, as they seem to... Oh, everyone seems to be a bit fond of shooting their comrades, as Vabs almost lined up a shot onto Marv.
I want to say
Looks like he
still...
wants to get aggressive into tower as well. Sorry.
I want to say they still won every round they've got a team killing, though.
Well, that currently stands, but we've still got to watch this round out.
Well, Matthew's position here, being challenged. The Keeper coming up to just support him a little bit more, and it's actually doing a great job of keeping him alive. Jaff able to win the gunfight, take down Ben. Quickly fragged out those. Pogo runs up behind, gets one back. 3 members from Exeter. One of those was a team kill, but 2 more got an instant. Sums is now just walking straight in to try and challenge Die, able to win out the gunfight. Zvabs has gone from the server as well. He's disconnected, which leaves it in a 2 versus 2. You've got to be a little bit more careful now. Swansea is Jaff able to get one of these guns from the rotation in the back of Kitchen. Pogo on the hatch above, just trying to spray through the floor, trying to find this pick, but having to just reconsider his approach here, Dino. He's still got 50 seconds, though, to play with. If he can find one of these members from the hatch, try and isolate them, it will be a massive opportunity, as they're both low on HP.
Yeah, but they are playing sensibly. Marv, he knows that the pressure is most likely going to come through from this breach that's been opened up inside of the or over by the stage inside a meeting, so he just needs to wait for the audio cue of the plant starting to go down. But with barbed wire getting punched, he's going to be aware of the avenue coming in through the green hallway. Pogo is just going to continue to remain aggressive down this line of attack, not choosing to go inside a meeting. Instead, he's going to have to deal with the defender positioned exactly on top of the bomb. Jaff was incredibly low HP, so just one shot to the side was enough to secure the kill, and now it's Marv having to cover a lot of ground to try and go for the kill here, but instead, just a couple shots through the wall is enough to make him hide, and Marv is able to dodge out of the way of the bullets there at the last second and secure the kill, because that was starting to look pretty dangerous there for Swansea.
Pretty dangerous is too close a way of putting it. I think a big part of this was of that big play upstairs between Matthew and Jaff doing a great job of just slowing things down, right? They have the keepers coming in, Matthew able to still hold that aggressive angle, and I like the way they played that. But this is the first time we've seen Exeter have a fault in their attack. Every other round, they have been very clear about what they want to get. They're pushing for this space. They're using their utility very well to give it to themselves. They're handing themselves round wins. This time around, Swansea finally able to find that challenge point, right? And it was all around that startup pit. Pogo looking for that flank. He was able to get one kill, but ultimately the rest of his team just falling in attic at the same time. Kind of a meat grinder if bodies didn't quite work out for them. And then just trying to play from that 4 versus 2 came very close. I will give it to him. Getting it down to a 1v1 and losing with like 3 seconds left is pretty impressive. But ultimately Swansea able to find their first win. And going back to the top floor this time, not choosing to go back to the basement just yet because they feel that they want to give another site that they've only lost once a go.
You know, probably a smart decision. We all know what the definition of madness is. We've all played that game, which I won't say the name of out loud on a sponsored broadcast, as you know, we're going to be, as you say, getting on into another kids' dormitory defense coming through here from Swansea. And my big issue with how they played this last time was that they invested a lot of utility into one room that they then gave up on as soon as a little bit of pressure was applied. And that's not how, if you're investing in the utility, you're supposed to hold it for as long as you feasibly can.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that coming through from them before, so hopefully there'll be an adjustment here.
Vamps just trying to tango with Sums over inside a garage very early on, looking for one of these picks. A minute gone so far, and Exeter have slowed their pace down a smidge. Still have this control over tower, should be able to work their way at getting themselves that control into attic somewhat soon. The hatch open does mean that you have to be a little bit careful if you want to lurk around inside of meeting, but the window getting punched open, not something that isn't going to send you for a bit of a spin. Matthew able to get one traded out by Ben. Now just lurking still around this meeting, looking to try and remove any potential denial from the attic wall. I want to say it's bandit batteries that are causing them this problem so far. Finally, Sums should be able to get them gone. The nade being invested to get at least one side openable. This is a lot of time wasted.
Yeah, this is a lot more time gone from the extra attack than we saw previously. They still had about a minute to go when they were in a 4 versus 2 the last time they attacked here. So this has been a much more stable defense coming through from Swansea. Matthew losing his life, it's not ideal, as that still had impacts and a good gun available. However, Ainoob losing his life is a much bigger deal, as that's 2 frag nades gone and off the table that can no longer be used by Exeter, as now Sums is starting to work his way on in. This utility is going to be an actual issue this time, as Dye is starting to use some of those smoke nades to slow down the push, as Deathly is going to be able to open up this wall with Selma. Marv is going to be good for 1 as well elsewhere, but Exeter really don't have many avenues on in here. They're trying to get the pressure coming in from attic. Deathly is good for 1. Jaff is there with a trade onto Ben immediately afterwards, and there's 3 versus 2 that's about to follow. Marv is good to get both, as that's going to be Swansea now starting to pick up 2 more rounds. That's now a 3-2 split in favor of Exeter.
Pretty spicy double turnaround as well, right? Afraid of the breach push, turns back round to pit, gets both the kills. But again, the big difference for me from Swansea now is they're starting to find ways to slow Exeter down. And I think there was a bit of a miscommunication with getting open that breach in attic. That took them way too long. You need to have some sort of plan. Just bring I don't even know what the correct thing there is, right? You just get it open sooner. If you need to, you can just throw your drone up, ping it out to yourself, and shoot it. You can get it in kind of quite a few ways. Bring a different operator if that's something that you know you're gonna need. But ultimately, spending so long getting that control of Attic gave Dai this very pivotal position, right? Because he could play in pit uncontested for so long. The last time around, we saw X to win the attack. What they did was they just had that double push down Attic. They got it open within a minute. They had Ben and I want to say it was Inoob walking down, just able to get the... Oh no, Pogo, able to get the double kill. Just push down, get Jaff, push further in, get that control onto site, and really open up this Swansea hold. This time around, they were given a little bit more freedom to play around with, and they used that to their advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Ash probably from inside a tower could have been able to open up the floor with one of those breaching rounds, but instead we're going to see a quick take coming through. Yet again, more shield play from Exeter, as it is going to be a blitz rush down through blue, and it's going to actually go quite well to begin with. 2 quick kills going their way, including one for Pogo of the blitz. We are going to see Jaeger positioned close inside of the site, and that's going to be Jaff, good for the kill onto Ben, trying to now get away and slow down this momentum that's building, as definitely is able to kill onto Matthew, and it's going to be Sums to eliminate Jaff. And it is just Marv left alone. He's going to be able to secure the kill onto Sums, and now it's a 1 versus 2, including one up against this blitz. He does have the Warden goggles to stop himself from getting blinded, but the pinch coming down the hallway is going to be there to secure the kill, secure the round, and the 4-2 half for the attack on Oregon.
That's a great start for Exeter. Now they get to move onto that defense and try and play for some of these rounds. 3 wins is all that separates them from a spot in the grand final. Swansea, a little bit of work to do to make up the difference. Can they be as successful as Exeter were on their attacking half? I don't know. Some of those rounds were amazing from Exeter, and Swansea have to take a crack at it, but it's going to be starting on the top floor for Exeter. Quite a different lineup as well. They're bringing that Cade, who hasn't been banned at all series long. Both of these teams feeling that, you know what, they're happy to play with this available for themselves and for their opponents. The Thatcher also available all series long. I'm really liking how these teams have been adapting their bans and their pick strategies around this fact, around the new season, around the new Impact DMPs. Both teams getting great use out of all the utility they've had available for themselves at different times. It's been really enjoyable to watch.
Oh, absolutely. We are potentially into the final few rounds of our action for today, as Swansea on the back foot, now having to go on to what is theoretically the harder side of this map, as Exeter just need to hold on out for one full cycle of their defenses to be able to secure themselves a position in the grand finals and force Swansea to go and face Warwick in the lower brackets. It's all really starting to build up now, isn't it, here in this tournament as we're getting into the final few play days?
Well, opening up into Master Bedroom first, right? They've got that space. Not quite the same sort of aggressive hold coming out from Exeter that we saw before. Babs is stuck, apparently. He's unable to move from his position, which might make things a little bit more difficult, as I believe the Rios timer has expired. They won't really be able to do much more, so we'll have to play from the position he's already found himself in. Could be a little bit awkward, but Pogo on this staircase behind catches out Jaff, who's made his way into Armory. That just causes a couple problems for them now. Vab's back to normal, but Pogo swinging around is able to know Matthew brought to very low HP, but ultimately able to shut down the Jaeger, keep himself alive, trying to help the rest of the team get their jobs done and deal with some of this off-site presence. The breach open on up as well. The Goyo going off, but the smoke swings out. Will get shut down by Dai, who gets himself a double kill, Dino.
Just amazing play from the Thermite there. We've seen this a lot from Swansea, particularly back on Clubhouse. It is going to be Sums to get the kill onto Matthew, and Vabs, as he's attempting to burn through the ADSs and throw utility on in, is going to get swung by Sums to add another double kill into the round. And as Dai tries to push on in, Sums is going to benefit and get a third here. Marv is left alone.
Oh!
What? I didn't even see that.
I just want to highlight what a wonderful performance this round and this series has been from some of the newer players to the scene, right? Marv, first bit playing. Sums, I want to say the same. These two players doing bits, just stepping up massively in these rounds. And yes, Sums didn't win out this round, but we've seen him perform magical plays before. We saw him get 2 fantastic kills already this game, round 3 even. Like, it is great to see this the next set of players coming in, proving that they not only have spots on these teams, but that Marv is top of the scoreboard for his team, so is Sums.
They've both been having really good days. I mean, Marv last week, I did feel like we could, occasionally see a little bit more from him. However, he did go for a lot of spawn peaks and lost his life a lot within the first 20 seconds of the round. So we didn't get to see as much from him as I would have liked. But yeah, like you say, Sums has been putting on a performance in today, not just in this map, but across the board. As we are going to see Exeter not attempt to hold that top floor site again, despite the fact that it was almost a successful defense. They are instead going to immediately choose to go downstairs into the basement, where Swansea had a lot of difficulty.
Yeah, Matthew, just the first one up to this balcony once again, just trying to clear out these early roamers, right? You don't want to get caught out by anyone in the back. Like we saw Pogo a couple times now has been able to work himself into really clever positions that just catch Swansea a little bit off guard. You want to try and cut down those options, but Sums gets the better of Marv in this round. The Lion out for the count. You lose all that important utility so early on, especially with that Cade on the board, losing those impact EMPs is really going to hurt, as Pogo in tower is trying to be cleared out, but it's just making his way up top, just continuing to lock things down. Vabs gets one onto Ben, but still, Exeter holding their positions, playing this roam game. They're not falling back anytime soon.
No, and I think that's probably the smart decision from them. Without the Lion there, they are going to be able to be a little bit more aggressive, as INoob is going to get the kill onto Matthew. And yeah, that looks like a little bit of a miss drone coming on through, as Pogo is going to get the frag on to Jaff, as Pogo is just going to be able to stick around. Vabs is good for the kill onto INoob. But with a minute 30 to go, 2 versus 3 in favor of Exeter, and with these Azami keeper barriers being thrown up around the place, it is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Vabs is aware of the player inside a classroom, is going to get that kill onto Sums, and Pogo didn't choose to stay upstairs to maybe try and get a flank going on. Instead went all the way back down to the objective, and is now going to be holding down these main laundry stairs, waiting for the first player to challenge him.
2 versus 2, similar health conditions. Vabs, at the moment, sitting on a triple kill. The ace potential still available for him. He's working his way towards Freezer, trying to rejoin up with Dai, the 2 players who, way back on Clubhouse, performed some miracle clutches for their teams to come in for some big